Before I graduated, I married a beautiful teacher. When he woke up, he found himself to be a rich second generation. Tang Mengxing's evil life began. Chapter 1: The State Sends Wife. Longhua, Tsinghua University and Peking University campus. Tang Mengxing. Tang Mengxing. What are you in a daze for? The beautiful teacher stood on the stage, looking at the dazed Tang Mengxing. A piece of chalk flew over and hit him directly on the forehead. He came back to his senses. What's wrong? He rubbed his head and looked around. Is this a classroom? What's wrong? What do you say? The beautiful teacher walked down the podium and ran towards Tang Mengxing. 170 centimeters tall, curvy, a pair of tight jeans outlines a perfect waist-to-hip ratio. Steps are light, like willow branches swaying in the wind. The beautiful teacher twisted Tang Mengxing's ears and said angrily, I found you several times today. You are either in a daze or in a daze. The male students next to him looked envious. I am willing to have my ears twisted. They all say that the school beauties are the most beautiful in the school, but they think this beautiful teacher is the most beautiful. TSK. Tang Mengxing did not resist. The beautiful teacher in front of him was named Sumoli. 24 years old, married, childless. She mainly taught some basic economics courses and worked as an assistant teacher in the school after graduation. Tang Mengxing was twisted and felt a little painful, and finally couldn't bear it anymore. She hugged Sumoli's neck and kissed her. Fuck, a uniform voice rang out in the class. Tang Mengxing, this kid, did what I dreamed of. You have guts. Didn't I hear that teacher Su is married? If her husband knows, he will come and kill her. Sumoli was startled by this sudden move and quickly pushed the other party away. You go out and stand in the corner. Sumoli, who was furious, just said this. Tang Mengxing stretched and walked out. Standing in the corner was impossible, so Tang Mengxing went downstairs for a walk without staying at the door. Teacher, Tang Mengxing went downstairs instead of standing at the door. After the monitor found out, he immediately reported it to Sumoli. Under the gaze of the whole class, Sumoli was so shy that she suppressed her dissatisfaction and continued to teach. Don't pay attention to him, let's continue. The whole class looked at each other. It's like this, how can teachers who continue to teach? At least they should call the police or notify the school to expel Tang Mengxing. Kissing the teacher forcefully, what a big deal, a complete hooligan, and just let it go. At this time, Tang Mengxing was walking on the playground of the school, with two things in his mind. The first thing. There are 270 million men in Longhua, but 750 million women. And the fertility rate has declined seriously. So the country has regulations that all men between the ages of 21 and 30 must get married. However, people's desire to get married is not strong. So another policy was introduced. Every month, 100,000 men and women will be randomly selected and forcibly bound. For humane reasons, a 1-week screening period is also given, during which the system will push suitable people to both men and women. 100 people are selected every day. If both men and women agree with each other, the pairing is successful. If no one is satisfied after 7 days, sorry, we can only randomly force the binding. The marriage procedures are automatically handled by the system, and the marriage certificate is mailed to your home. Many young people are selected when they are 24 or 25 years old. However, Tang Mengxing received the notification just after his 21st birthday. But he didn't realize that today is already the 8th day. As for the second thing, it is his parents. Father Tang Hai, a big and rough man, unkempt, neglecting his family all day long, and working outside for 3 to 5 months each time. Mother Zhang Yuanying, an honest woman, seems to have experienced many vicissitudes of life, and her conversation also reveals that she has read books and followed her father to work outside. I grew up eating at many people's homes. But my father told me that he was a billionaire just a week ago. At noon, several Maybachs stopped at the school gate, and my father Tang Hai, wearing a well-fitting suit, found me. He looked like a superior, this was the real father. I've lied to you for 20 years, I'm sorry, but a noble son comes from a poor family, it's good for you to suffer a little. Unlike a certain movie, Tang Mengxing grew up without the company of his parents. Most of the time he was alone. Occasionally I remember eating with my parents when I was very young. Tang Mengxing was still confused when his father stuffed a card into his mouth. There are 500 million in it, and I'll ask their housekeeper to give you another 5 million every Monday. If it's not enough, we'll talk later. The two chatted for half an hour, and Tang Mengxing couldn't believe it, and had to ask his father to tell the truth. But Tang Hai said everything he should say, and left in a hurry after giving the money. Oh my god, such a big thing, shouldn't there be a bigger scene? How come you come and go so quickly? Tang Mengxing only had 500 yuan left in his pocket, which was given by his father last month. How come it became 500 million this month? And 5 million every week? It should be 500 yuan a week. Going to the ATM, Tang Mengxing checked the balance in his card. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, hundreds of millions. 505 million has been withdrawn for a week. He is a senior student, and the most he has in his hand is only 2,000 yuan. Suddenly having so much money is really scary. But he was ecstatic in his heart. At this time, Tang Mengxing received a call. Who is it? Hello. Hello. The express delivery was put in the communication room of your school, remember to pick it up. Express delivery? Tang Mengxing thought about it. He hasn't bought anything recently. Could it be? Is it a marriage certificate? So soon? After Tang Mengxing's birthday, she received a government notice that she had been selected for a week-long screening. However, Tang Mengxing only found this message in the early morning this morning, and it has been a week. The result is that she was randomly bound to someone who was her teacher Sumoli. How long has it been since the marriage certificate was mailed? Walking to the message room, Tang Mengxing received the express delivery, and when he opened the package, he saw that it was indeed a marriage certificate. According to the regulations of Longhua, after receiving the marriage certificate, you can no longer live with your parents. You can only move out, and a specialist will visit regularly to investigate the relationship between the couple. There will also be regular activities for such bound couples to participate. Therefore, Sumoli must move in and live with Tang Mengxing today or tomorrow. Thinking of this, Tang Mengxing smiled slightly. This Sumoli is indeed very beautiful. She is really lucky, but after all, she is her teacher and she has known her for more than a year. There is still some resistance in some feelings. Chapter 2 come tonight. Sumoli's class ended early in the afternoon. Back in the office, an older professor said to Sumoli, "Xiaosu, there is a package for you. I put it on your desk." Sumoli thanked him and went to the office. She knew what was in it. After opening it, there was a thin red book. Male, Tang Mengxing, female, Sumoli, from today on, we are legally married. Sumoli frowned. The regulations of Longhua do not allow divorce within 5 years after the binding. If you have to wait for 5 years, you will be 29 years old. This is why she did not pursue Tang Mengxing in class. This is her husband. If she fired him or called the police to arrest him, wouldn't that be digging a hole for herself? Although she was reluctant in her heart, she did not dare to disobey. After all, it was illegal. After packing up her things, Sumoli rode her electric bike and went home. She was an intern teaching assistant and did not become a regular employee. She earned 3,500 yuan a month. So she is working very hard to get a regular job as soon as possible, so that she can get a higher salary. Longhua, Yangjing, Hailanyuan. Sumoli just stopped the electric bike and ran upstairs excitedly. Mom and Dad, I'm back. Sumoli opened the door and was stunned. There were 2 or 3 suitcases in the living room, and 2 bags of packed luggage. What is this? Mother Sun Guilan was still packing, with an uncontrollable smile on her face. Moli, have you got the marriage certificate? You can live with your partner tomorrow. Sumoli blushed and was very embarrassed. Mom, I don't want to go yet. Father Suqiang said, we all have this rule, and the street committee will remove your household registration in 2 days, so hurry up. Once you get married, don't rely on your parents at home. Father had no ill intentions, relying on your parents was just a joke. Sumoli's eyes were filled with tears. Do you know who I was matched with? My student. After hearing this, Suqiang and Sun Guilan smiled at each other. This is a good relationship. We are together day and night, and it will promote feelings quickly. The old couple didn't take it to heart at all, as long as the man's character was good. And there are rules for this kind of screening and matching in Longhua, and you can pay to buy a place. After all, even if all the boys are married, there are still a lot of female bachelors left, so they support polygamy. In addition to their first free, there are 10 places. After all, there are more boys than girls, and if the man has money, you can spend 100,000 to buy the second place, 500,000 for the third place, 1 million for the fourth place, and so on. The 11th place is for 0.5 million. A total of 10 places, 22.6 million. Ordinary people can't afford it at all, only 1 or 2 places at most. In the Walt Disney apartment, a high-end apartment under a luxury brand. Tang Mengxing was lying on the bed and talking on the phone. Dad, I mean, I want a watch, but the kind of smart watch. It costs thousands of dollars. What are these Richard Miller and Patek Philippe watches? On the other end of the phone, Tan Hai replied, I know, it's not that in addition to those watches, there is also a smart watch inside. Didn't you see it? Tang Mengxing heard it and quickly flipped through the package and took out a smartwatch. Little genius. Dad, do you know how old I am? Tang Hai was still not happy. My son, is there any problem? Little genius, you are a genius. What's wrong with that? Tang Mengxing accidentally mentioned that he liked the latest smartwatch, and Tang Hai immediately had someone send it over. Several Richard Millers, each of which is more than 1 million, and the most expensive diamond-studded one is 3.8 million. It must be said that Tang Mengxing still likes it very much, but it's not what he wants. I didn't want to buy one for free, but I ended up buying one after hanging up the phone. There were 7 expensive watches in total, and a blue and white little genius phone watch. I tried it on and it was quite suitable, but it was a bit high profile. Besides, Patek Philippe watches are not suitable for me, they are too mature and too business-like. I picked a Richard Miller watch at random and put it on my wrist. I turned on the computer and started playing games. The latest Alienware laptop is really fun to play games. 3 of a kind. I can't afford it. Tang Mengxing laughed, there's only one card left. Har har. At this time, the phone rang, a strange call. Tang Mengxing answered the phone. Hello. Who is this? It's me, Sumoli. The school has the contact information of the students, and Sumoli found it after checking. She couldn't stay at home anymore. Her parents urged her to leave, so Sumoli called Tang Mengxing. Oh. Mr. Su, what are you doing so late? Tang Mengxing pretended that nothing happened. Sumoli was angry. Don't pretend, I haven't settled the score with you for what happened during the day. Are you in the dormitory now? Sumoli understood clearly that after the binding, if the man and woman have no place to live, the state will arrange a temporary residence for 800 yuan per month. But the conditions of that house are too poor. As the capital of Yangjing, how good can a house of 800 yuan be? Mother Sun Guilan gave her 50,000 yuan, plus she had saved 30,000 yuan before, which was enough for a while. But Tang Mengxing is a student with no income, and she will have to support him in the future. You can imagine the future life. I'm not in the dormitory, I'm outside, I've applied for day school. Tang Mengxing replied. Day trip. Sumoli was stunned and asked, you rented a house? Tang Mengxing said, I guess so. I just got married with you, so I moved out. I went to see the 800 a month house allocated by the state. It was too ordinary and far away. Tang Mengxing's apartment was indeed not in his name, but he didn't rent it either, because the whole building was owned by his father. Originally, he was given a villa of more than 3,000 square meters, which was very luxurious. But Tang Mengxing only stayed there for one night and never went there again, because it was too lonely. He was alone in such a big house, especially at night, it was scary. Tang Mengxing was bold and careful, and he was also a top student. His only weakness was that he was afraid of the dark. Perhaps because he had been alone since he was a child, this loneliness was very hurtful. At this time, Sumoli felt much more relieved. Tang Mengxing had a place to live, which saved him from renting a house. I'll go there now. Tell me the address and wait for me downstairs. You're coming now? I'm not ready yet. Tang Mengxing didn't expect Sumoli to come tonight. She looked at the room. There were a lot of messy things. This apartment is a high-end business apartment. Each room is 95 square meters, with 1 bedroom, 1 living room, 1 kitchen and 1 bathroom. The decoration, furniture and home appliances are all luxury goods. It's not big, but the cheapest one has a monthly rent of 30,000. Tang Mengxing sent the location and Sumoli told her that she would arrive in 20 minutes. So she quickly cleaned up the room and took a shower. After all, hygiene is important. At this time, Sumoli, with the help of her parents, moved her luggage one by one to the small truck she called. "Mom, can't I stay one more night?" Sun Guilan said, "It's not like we can't see each other. You can come back in a few days. It's not far away. It's just that you can't live at home in the future. It's a joke." Chapter 3, Teacher Su and Classmate Tang. The night breeze was a bit chilly. It was September, and Tang Mengxing was wearing a thin jacket, waiting downstairs. "Still not here. It's been 30 minutes, she mumbled, glancing at her watch. It was already 10 o'clock. At that moment, a truck slowly pulled up to the apartment entrance. Sumoli, sitting in the passenger seat, spotted Tang Mengxing from afar. She didn't feel much resistance after all. Tang Mengxing was a student from Qingbei, and he was also handsome. His future seemed very bright. However, since he was her student, it always felt a bit awkward. Every time she taught, she maintained a stern expression, displaying her authority as a teacher. But now, she was about to marry her student. Tang Mengxing saw the truck and quickly walked over. Sumoli got out of the car, looking a bit shy. She nodded and said, "Classmate Tang." Tang Mengxing responded, "Teacher Su." The two still addressed each other in the usual way, creating an awkward atmosphere. Tang Mengxing was proactive, helping with the luggage, and a few people from the property management came over to help as well. Sumoli looked around curiously. This didn't seem like a residential complex, it looked more like a hotel. And the property staff was so eager? "Is this a hotel or a residential complex?" Sumoli asked, intrigued. Tang Mengxing replied, "It's a service department. It's just for living." Once they entered the lobby, Sumoli felt the difference. Most hotels had small entrances and simple decor, but this one was completely different. The ceiling of the first floor was 4 stories high, and the luxurious decor was complemented by a large aquarium in the lobby, where they kept. "Are those sharks?" Sumoli exclaimed, completely shocked. "Yes," the property staff replied quickly. They usually offered transportation and luggage services, but for a fee. However, today, the guest was Tang Mengxing, the son of Tang Hai. The entire building belonged to them, and everyone worked for the Tang family. Asking for money, they were more than happy to serve. Several people carried the luggage to the 16th floor. The apartment was located in the city center. Once inside the room, the spacious floor-to-ceiling windows immediately caught Sumoli's attention. "The night view of Yangjing is so beautiful," she said, having never seen the city from this angle. "The night view is beautiful, but it's nothing compared to your beauty." The voice of Tang Mengxing came from behind. The door was already closed, and he nervously said those words. What if Sumoli got upset? That would be so awkward. But Sumoli didn't respond. She stood still, lost in thought. Suddenly, she said, "Tang Mengxing, you've gone too far today." "Huh? What did I do? I just kissed you, that's all." "A kiss? I'm your teacher, and you're being disrespectful." Sumoli's expression changed. "How is the homework you were assigned?" "Let me check." Tang Mengxing realized she was just looking for trouble, or perhaps trying to assert her authority as a teacher. "But the assignment isn't due until next Monday. It's only Wednesday. I haven't done it yet." Tang Mengxing, feeling emboldened by their marital relationship, stood firm. Sumoli glanced around the room, which subtly revealed luxury. She began to suspect that Tang Mengxing wasn't just any student, was he the son of a wealthy family? She saw his bag and immediately went over, opening it to check. Tang Mengxing quickly intervened. "Hey, Teacher Su, as a teacher, you don't have the right to go through my personal belongings. You're invading my privacy." Sumoli smirked. "You're wrong. As a teacher, I don't have the right, but now I'm your wife, so I have the right to check your bag. And as your teacher, I can check your homework. No problem, right?" Damn it. Tang Mengxing felt 1,000 alpacas running through his mind. He had wanted to flirt, but instead, he was being pinned down. 5,000-word essay, not a single word written. Sumoli looked at Tang Mengxing's work and couldn't help but get a bit angry. Tang Mengxing replied, "It's only 5,000 words. I'll finish it in one weekend." Sumoli wasn't letting him off. "You better start reviewing. Don't slack off." Tang Mengxing didn't respond. Instead, he pulled Sumoli onto his lap. "Can we talk about something else?" Sumoli tried to struggle but realized he was much stronger than she thought. "Don't go too far." Tang Mengxing held her soft waist and leaned in, smelling her fragrance. He was in a good mood. Let us rest early. It's too early, it's only a little past 10. Sumoli Hanti decided how to spend the night, but she felt like she wouldn't be able to escape his grasp, so she just made an excuse. Earlier, she had deliberately provoked him to assert her authority, but Tang Mengxing didn't seem to care. It's not early. If we keep going, it'll be midnight. After saying that, Tang Mengxing picked up Sumoli and the girl, blushing, didn't he know what to do except hold onto his neck. Be gentle later. Time check. Yangjing time, 12 o'clock. Tang Mengxing, covered in sweat, turned off the time announcement on his phone. In the bathroom, the sound of water running could be heard as Sumoli was showering. Tang Mengxing grabbed a towel and walked straight in. What are you doing here? Two people, saves time and effort, and water. The next morning, Tang Mengxing and Sumoli woke up early. Sumoli still felt a bit embarrassed and told Tang Mengxing that they should try not to go to school together. She would leave first, and then Tang Mengxing would follow. Her electric scooter was at her parents' house, but fortunately, the apartment wasn't too far from the school, so she could walk. However, Sumoli's mind was buzzing. She still couldn't figure out Tang Mengxing's background. His parents were listed as farmers on his student information. But the more she thought about it, the less it seemed to add up. Last night, he mentioned that his father was a super rich man, incredibly wealthy. Sumoli didn't believe a word of it. At that moment, Tang Mengxing arrived at the apartment's underground parking garage, where dozens of luxury cars were parked. Porsche, Lamborghini, Koenigsegg, Ferrari, Pagani. There were also several Maybachs, Rolls-Royces, Bentleys, and more. All of them were provided by Tang Hai. Tang Mengxing picked the most low-key BMW X7 and drove it out. Unfortunately, there was no parking spot at school, so he had to park in a nearby paid parking lot. He was being lazy. The school was only a 10-minute walk away, but he insisted on driving. As he was about to park in the parking lot across from the mall, he saw Sumoli walking over. Tang Mengxing hit the gas pedal and caught up. Stop! What are you doing? The security guard immediately stopped him. A crowd gathered, attracted by the commotion. Sumoli was only a few meters away and also looked over. She thought to herself, this guy is really something. Does he think he can just drive into the school? The car window rolled down, and Tang Mengxing stuck his head out. Security brother. I'm Sumoli's husband. The security guard looked at Tang Mengxing, then at Sumoli standing nearby. They recognized this beautiful teacher, not from the school's environment, but because she was famous for being stunning. After all, the entire school knew about this strikingly beautiful teacher. Chapter 4. What's the connection? Teacher Su, is this your family member? The security captain confirmed with Sumoli. Sumoli nodded stupidly. Yes, my cousin. Then he reacted and quickly got in the car. The security guard didn't make it difficult and just opened the gate to let us pass. In the car, Sumoli couldn't help but hit Tang Mengxing twice. Didn't I tell you not to go to school with me? Tang Mengxing said innocently, I left late. Who knew you were walking so slowly? Then you can't say you're my family member. How can I explain this to you? I asked you to leave late so that we can keep a low profile and make our relationship public after you graduate. Sumoli was furious. With so many people watching her, she didn't want to get on the bus. Instead, she felt like she was trying to cover up her crime. Tang Mengxing said with reason, I just wanted to save some parking fees. The mall across the street charges 5 yuan per hour, which is too expensive. This was pure Tang Mengxing's nonsense. He just thought it was interesting and wanted to tease Sumoli. After stopping the car, Sumoli quickly trotted away. The morning class was boring. Tang Mengxing was a talented student who could understand things quickly. It was not until lunchtime that Tang Mengxing wanted to send a WeChat message to ask if Sumoli wanted to have lunch together, but was rejected. In the office. Teacher Su, I heard that you got married. Was it matched by the government? A teacher suddenly asked. Sumoli was eating takeout when she choked. Yes. She lowered her head, not wanting to discuss the topic further. The other male teachers of the same age in the office couldn't help but sigh, wondering who had picked such a beautiful flower. Feelings of jealousy and envy filled the entire room. What does the other party do? As expected, someone asked. Sumoli paused for a moment and said, I don't know either. Never met. See, not bad. Sumoli's voice became lower and lower. Then you have money. Can't you tell what you do? When asked this, Sumoli thought of Tang Mengxing's BMW X7 and said, rich. That means you are a small boss. You are so lucky. When words are passed on, they change their meaning. Sumoli's husband is a small boss. Sumoli's husband is a boss. Boss? Impossible, all the people who matched me were under 30 years old. Then Sumoli's husband is a rich second generation. Sumoli's husband is a top rich second generation. The news spread quickly in just one afternoon. Gossip about a stunningly beautiful teacher was bound to spread quickly. During the last class, Sumoli came to the classroom. Tang Mengxing picked a seat in the back row. His former roommate Zhang Ming pushed Tang Mengxing and said, "My friend was so awesome yesterday. He forcefully kissed me." The news spread around the school. People said you won't live for a few more days. Why? I heard that teacher Su's husband is a rich second-generation man. I guess he will kill you, har har. The two chatted heartlessly for a while. When they first arrived at school today, Tang Mengxing and Sumoli both felt something was wrong. Although others were trying to hide it, they could feel it. Yesterday's incident has spread. For this reason, the Dean of Studies found Sumoli and claimed that the student must be severely punished, or even expelled from school. This scared Sumoli. She would have to rely on Tang Mengxing in the future. After all, men should earn money to support the family. The Dean of Studies did not expect that Sumoli would actually plead for Tang Mengxing. Student Tang is usually very obedient. Maybe he was upset yesterday. I just need to do some ideological work on him. After all, it's not easy to get here. Give him another chance. After returning to the office, the Dean of Studies was still a little upset about the matter and received another call from the security department. Director, the family of Sumoli from your department wants to apply for a parking card in the name of Teacher Su. Do you think it's okay? No problem, what's your name? Tang Mengxing, he said he is Teacher Su's cousin. Cousin? The dean stood up from his seat. Holy shit, this is too bloody. What kind of family does she have? It's so messy, my own cousin, actually. Sumoli was standing on the podium at this time. She looked around and then saw Tang Mengxing. The rest of the class was also looking at them. Yesterday's incident still had no result, and many people were waiting to watch the show. However, Sumoli showed no change in emotion and started teaching as usual. Tang Mengxing studied very seriously and his notes filled up the entire notebook. Zhang Ming whispered, "Would you like to go to the library to study tonight?" "No, I'm going back to study. I have other things to do at home." Zhang Ming. Pay attention in class, Sumoli reminded them when she saw them whispering. Zhang Ming quickly replied, "I understand. I understand. I'm sorry, Teacher Su." Tang Mengxing also sat upright, looking like a model student. It would be bad if I was caught teaching my wife's class. Get out of class is over. The last class ended at 5 o'clock, and Sumoli took her notebook and prepared to leave. Teacher Su. Tang Mengxing's voice suddenly came, and the whole class stopped moving. Many people had smiles on their faces, and the show began. However, when Tang Mengxing walked over, Sumoli's eyes widened in fear, wondering if what happened yesterday would happen again. "I'm sorry for yesterday." Tang Mengxing bowed deeply. "TSK, that's it." A disappointed voice came from the students. Sumoli adjusted her mood and replied in an official manner, "This matter has passed. You should take care of yourself in the future and never let down the school and teachers' expectations of you." Tang Mengxing nodded repeatedly, "Yes, yes, yes. It's just that I still have a question in class just now that I don't understand. Can I ask you for help in private?" MD, Sumoli cursed in her heart and asked questions, probably deliberately trying to find an opportunity to be alone with him. "Let's go to the office." After saying this, Tang Mengxing followed Sumoli out. In the parking lot, in the BMW X7, Sumoli stopped pretending. "You heartless person, I don't want to teach your class anymore. Why did you kiss me yesterday? Now the whole school knows about it." Sumoli pinched Tang Mengxing's arm hard. Tang Mengxing hugged Sumoli. I was wrong. I was confused yesterday. I had too many things to do recently. I thought you were my wife, so it would be okay to kiss you. I didn't notice that we were in the classroom. I'm off work and I want to go home." You can drive by yourself. Sumoli was about to get out of the car, but was stopped by Tang Mengxing. Here. Let's improve the relationship, Tang Mengxing pointed to his mouth. Sumoli was angry and embarrassed. She looked around to see if there was anyone around and kissed him lightly. Then he hurried away. Chapter 5 All Mine. As soon as Sumoli walked out of the school gate, the X7 behind her caught up with her. Tang Mengxing's car sped past without the two saying hello. It was still early, but when Tang Mengxing returned home, he was in a dilemma: what to eat. At this time Sumoli also came back, and the two of them stared at each other. What are we having for dinner? Tang Mengxing asked. Sumoli crossed her arms and said confidently, I've already said it beforehand. I only have 3,500 yuan a month, which is just enough for my own food and drink. If there's any surplus, I can buy you some milk tea. Don't even think about anything else. Tang Mengxing disagreed. I'll pay for your food and drinks, let's go have a big dinner tonight. Sumoli was not surprised at Tang Mengxing's generosity. When she saw the car he was driving, she knew that this guy was rich. Or it could be said that his family is rich, but the contradiction is that the information clearly states that his parents are farmers. It can't be explained in a few words, and Tang Mengxing doesn't want to explain. He patted her butt and said, let's go, my beautiful teacher wife, let's go to Xingyunhui for dinner. Sumoli was wearing a well-cut grey hip skirt. The skirt tightly wraps around her graceful figure, showing her sexiness and elegance to the fullest. The skirt perfectly outlines her slender waist and plump hips. She went out first, and Tang Mengxing followed her closely, staring at her perfect waist-to-hip ratio and swallowing. You must eat and drink enough tonight so that you have the strength to do your work. After entering the elevator, Tang Mengxing pressed B3, which was a private garage that only he could access. Classmate Tang, Mengxing, Sumoli called her classmate reflexively, but then she felt it was inappropriate and changed to a more intimate name. Mengxing, I hope you understand me. I don't want to be judged by my colleagues and students at school, so I want to keep a low profile. Tang Mengxing nodded and said, I understand. No, you don't understand. Otherwise you wouldn't drive a luxury car to school. I'm not ready for our marriage yet, even though I've given myself to you. Ding, the elevator rang, B3 arrived. Tang Mengxing said, I really understand, so the BMW I drive is already my cheapest car. The elevator door slowly opened, and dozens of luxury cars appeared in front of us. Tang Mengxing pressed the car key, and a white Ferrari LaFerrari flashed its lights. I'm not kidding you, that's really the cheapest car I have here. Sumoli didn't say anything, but just opened her eyes wide and looked at the garage. Unlike ordinary garages with ordinary green floors, this garage floor is made entirely of luxurious tiles. The walls are also decorated with solid wood, with ambient lighting. All the cars in the garage were parked together solemnly, as if they had life, waiting for their owners to arrive. This Sumoli stammered, not knowing how to start. Tang Mengxing hugged her slender waist, feeling the soft elasticity in his hands. This car is all mine. Har 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 har, Tang Mengxing felt very satisfied. Damn, I fooled her. After all, Sumoli graduated from a prestigious university and had excellent qualities. After a few minutes of surprise, she suppressed her inner shock and said, no matter how much money we have, we can't spend it recklessly. We can't be slaves to material things. Frugality is the traditional virtue of our nation. Can you buy me a bag? Study hard is what you should do. Strive to be a good student with moral integrity, intelligence, physical fitness, aesthetics and labor skills. Wait a minute, Sumoli seemed to have a lot to say, but Tang Mengxing interrupted. Did I hear you wanted to buy a bag? Sumoli turned her head to the side and muttered softly, I didn't say. It was obvious that she was being pretentious with him, and Tang Mengxing would not pretend not to hear it. After all, the matter had already been settled last night. Ding, Sumoli's WeChat rang. She opened it and saw that it was a money transfer from Tang Mengxing. 100,000, you take the flowers first, how much is the bag? I'll buy it after dinner. Tang Mengxing doesn't want to keep a low profile tonight, she just wants to have fun. The two drove out of the garage in the modified, samurai black Lamborghini. Sumoli felt complicated, but at the same time she was very happy. Her husband was so rich. Then wouldn't I have a place to stay in my next life? On the other hand, she likes her current job, which is her dream, but she and Tang Mengxing are more than just husband and wife. We are also teachers and students, so we should keep a low profile. From now on, night is when we will be doing real activities. During the day, you should still call me Teacher Su. Do you understand? Keep a low profile and don't cause a stir. Su Moli smiled happily and twisted Tang Mengxing's ears again. I understand, Teacher Su. No, you are not allowed to call the teacher at night. Got it, wife. Xingyun Hui is a high-end restaurant that Tang Mengxing has never been to. But after I became rich, I kept searching for some high-end restaurants to try. But I haven't made any arrangements yet. After all, everyone here goes in pairs, and it would be awkward to come alone. Please take a seat, princess. Tang Mengxing helped Su Moli pull out a seat. Su Moli smiled and nodded in satisfaction. Well done. After Tang Mengxing took his seat, he asked, is there any reward for good performance? Su Moli pretended not to understand again. What reward do you want? Tang Mengxing smiled and said, from now on, I will listen to you during the day, but at night, no need, just listen to me in bed. Get lost. Su Moli rolled her eyes at him and said, be gentle next time. The two of them flirted and spent 8,000 yuan on the meal. Su Moli felt a little distressed. After all, she had never spent so much money before. In her mind, this amount of money could buy a lot of good things. It's not as delicious as what I cook, Su Moli said proudly after leaving the restaurant. Tang Mengxing held her smooth little hand and echoed, yes, yes. Next time I'll try your cooking skills. After dinner, Tang Mengxing kept his promise and took his wife directly to the largest shopping mall nearby. Huaju City, the largest shopping mall in Yangjing, houses countless luxury goods of all kinds. LV, Hermes, Vanguard, Versace, Chanel. It is a woman's nature to love bags. When she came here, Su Moli couldn't help herself any longer. Have you confirmed with Tang Mengxing again and again whether you can buy a luxury bag? She thought about it for a long time and saved money for a long time, but it was only a few tens of thousands of dollars, so she still couldn't bear to part with it. Tang Mengxing said, buy whichever one you like. The two were strolling around when Tang Mengxing's phone rang. Dad, what's the matter? Tang Hai called, son, congratulations, you got the marriage certificate. Tang Mengxing said, yes. That's right. Your mother and I will go take a look later. I will also give you a raise, 10 million a week. If you marry another one in the future, I will give you an extra 5 million a week. R. Tang Mengxing was confused. He knew that his father was rich, but he didn't expect him to be so rich. Oh, by the way, the food at Xingyun Hui is pretty good, and there are a lot of good things in Huaju. Buy more for my daughter-in-law and don't treat her badly, Tang Hai continued. Tang Mengxing was suspicious. How do you know where I went? And how do you know I'm in Huaju? Nebular is my property. What about Huaju? Huaju won't do that. Tang Mengxing sighed, thinking that everything couldn't belong to him. Then I heard Tang Hai say, Huaju is your mother's property, I have no involvement in commercial real estate. Tang Mengxing thought that he had gotten used to his identity as a rich young man in the past few days and should not be surprised. But he was still shocked by his father. After hanging up the phone, Tang Mengxing took Su Moli straight to the Chanel store. Su Moli stepped in, still a little excited. My first luxury bag is about to arrive. I have passed by this store countless times, looked at it again and again, but I still can't bring myself to buy it. She has also met many kind-hearted people who, when they saw that Su Moli liked a certain bag, were willing to buy it for her on the condition that they sleep with her for one night. She was also ruthlessly rejected. Standing in front of her favorite bag, Su Moli blinked, looked at Tang Mengxing innocently, and asked, are you really buying it? Tang Mengxing nodded, I must buy it. After saying that, he prepared to ask the clerk to get the bag. Moli, a voice sounded, and Su Moli turned around to look at the person who came. Xiao Xiao. The person who came was Su Moli's high school classmate and best friend, Qin Xiao Xiao. The two of them were very happy to meet each other, but Qin Xiao Xiao did not come alone. There was a middle-aged man following her, who looked to be in his 50s. Xiao Xiao, she is. The man's heartbeat began to accelerate when he saw Su Moli for the first time. Just like a fairy on earth. Tang Mengxing stood aside and watched them greet each other, without being in a hurry. This is my high school classmate and also my best friend. Su Moli. Moli, let me introduce you. This is my husband, Chen Dabiao. Qin Xiao Xiao seemed a little proud. Su Moli was stunned, and Tang Mengxing was also confused. What was there to be proud of when her husband was a man in his 50s? Hello, my name is Chen Dabiao. Chen Dabiao stared at the other person closely, which made Su Moli feel a little uncomfortable. Forget the handshake. Hello, my name is Su Moli. Although Chen Dabiao could see that the girl was unhappy, he was not displeased at all. He thought he had seen a lot of women like this. I thought to myself, God help me, I happened to be in the Chanel store and I basically bought a bag, so I have something to play with in the evening. Tang Mengxing yawned. Wife, why don't you introduce me to me? As the protagonist, it would be inappropriate not to show up at this time. The group of people were busy chatting and didn't notice Tang Mengxing at all. This also made him doubt his own appearance. It's not that he is Versailles, but his handsomeness has been recognized by many people since he was a child. Why does it become less useful as it gets bigger? It's useless without money. In the past, the girls in my class would give up snacks worth dozens of dollars from other boys and be willing to stroll with me in the sunset. It's over, being handsome is useless. It used to be the main factor, but now it's just a bonus. Who is he? Qin Xiaoxiao then noticed the handsome boy in front of her. He was really handsome. She looked him up and down and unconsciously looked towards his middle part. Being young is good. Oh, this is my student, my husband, Tang Mengxing. She almost said student, because Qin Xiaoxiao is not a school staff anyway. It doesn't hurt to know the truth. Husband. Chen Dabia frowned, but soon relaxed. Cao Zed's character suddenly came to the fore. What a good wife. Young man, are you here to buy a bag? Chen Dabia made small talk with a look of contempt. Tang Mengxing said, yeah. It was a very plain sentence, he was too lazy to say more. Which one do you like? Chen Dabia continued to ask. Su Moni pulled Tang Mengxing's arm and said, let's not buy it today. Let's do it another day. She was afraid of trouble, and it was obvious that Chen Dabia had bad intentions. Tang Mengxing pointed at the bag and said, this one. Oh. Chen Dabia glanced at it casually. Tang Mengxing comforted Su Moli and whispered, I smell the smell of pretense. Why don't you leave quickly if you know what's going on? Less trouble is worse than more. Su Moli also understood the current situation. Chen Dabia gave Qin Xiaoxiao a look, and the latter immediately understood. Qin Xiaoxiao said, Moli, I heard that you make a month as a teacher. 3,500. Su Moli told the truth, but for the sake of face she still explained, I'm an intern now, and my salary will increase in the future. What about you, handsome boy? I don't have a job. Tang Mengxing told the truth. Qin Xiaoxiao and Chen Dabia both looked incredulous. You can't have no job. Why are you coming to Chanel if you don't have money? Tang Mengxing smiled and said, I am a rich second generation, my family is rich. Har har. Chen Dabia laughed, how can a rich second generation say that he is a rich second generation? But Chen Dabia didn't believe it at all, and immediately said to the clerk, please give me a bag of this style. What I want is the one that Su Moli likes. Xiaoxiao, I think this bag is also suitable for you. Chen Dabia took out the bag and let Qin Xiaoxiao try it. After saying that, he secretly glanced at Su Moli. Su Moli also stared at the bag intently, and in Chen Dabia's eyes, it was a look of envy. Su Moli was indeed envious in her heart. She was envious that she was matched with Tang Mengxing. You can own this bag yourself. You guys go shopping, I won't disturb you anymore. Chen Dabia said this, but he would steal glances at Su Moli from time to time, and they looked at the bag very closely. Chen Dabia said proudly, this one looks good to me, I'll buy one for you, Xiaoxiao. Do you like it? Take it. But Chen Dabia knew that he would have to spend a lot of money today and he had to attract Su Moli's attention. It's okay to have a husband, you can do it secretly. Su Moli turned a deaf ear, as if she couldn't hear anything. She just held the bag with joy and just looked at the price, 27,000 yuan. Su Moli thought that she and Tang Mengxing had just been married for one day, and wondered if it was a bit extravagant for her to do this. He confirmed again and again, do you really want to buy it? Chen Dabia heard this and laughed in his heart, sure enough, he is reluctant to spend it. He must have saved the money for a long time. Qin Xiaoxiao suddenly came over and said, Mo Li, what do you think of this? Lao Chen just bought it for me. It's the latest model. It's pretty good, right? And this? Tang Mengxing felt nauseous. Hey, that, Tang Mengxing, right? Why don't you buy one of these for Molly? It's only 50,000 yuan. It would be great if our best friends could carry the same bag. Chen Dabiao echoed, yes, good girlfriends, good sisters. People will envy them when they go out. No need, this is enough for me. Sumoli said hurriedly. How can a woman not love bags? But at this moment she felt that it was meaningless to continue comparing, but she couldn't help feeling a little disappointed. Tang Mengxing couldn't he possibly spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy herself a bag after just getting married? That makes sense, Tang Mengxing really thought about it seriously. He really couldn't let Sumoli carry this bag all the time. I was not thoughtful enough. I'm sorry, Molly. I don't know if Tang Mengxing was sincere or not, but the atmosphere was like this. Chen Dabiao's meaning was very clear, which was to roast Tang Mengxing over the fire. It depends on whether he can stand the roasting. Hello, please come here, Tang Mengxing shouted to a clerk. The clerk immediately ran over and asked, what do you need, sir? Chapter 7, Can't Be Material. Buy a few bags, Tang Mengxing said easily. The bags on the counter were only priced between 20,000 and 50,000 yuan. Although there are many styles, most of them are black and white. Tang Mengxing picked out 7 or 8 models at random, without caring whether Sumoli was willing or not. Chen Dabiao and Qin Xiaoxiao just looked at him. Molly, your husband is crazy. This kind of kid is prone to borrowing online loans. You better be careful. Qin Xiaoxiao's reminder was not meant kindly, and it was somewhat sarcastic. Chen Dabia shook his head, alas. Children are like this, they get impulsive after just 1 or 2 words and have to compare. I have also struggled for a long time to get to where I am today. Your husband is too impetuous. Sumoli felt a little uncomfortable after hearing this. No matter what Tang Mengxing was like, he was still her man and it was not someone else's turn to say anything. In the end, Tang Mengxing picked 10 bags in one go. Sir, there are 10 bags in total, totaling 337,000 yuan. How would you like to pay? The clerk said with a smile. Swipe the card. Tang Mengxing took out the card and handed it to the other party. Payment successful. Thank you for your patronage. The payment was successful. Qin Xiaoxiao looked at the other party in amazement, and Chen Dabia was also a little bit unbelievable. Online loans. Loans at high interest rates. Campus loans, down payments on houses given by parents, and so on. This speculation flashed through the minds of Chen Dabiao and Qin Xiaoxiao. Brother, where did you get this money? Do your parents know that you have so much money? Qin Xiaoxiao wanted to get something out of him, so she kept asking, hoping it would be an online loan. Didn't I say that I'm a rich second generation? The money is my parents' hard-earned money. Well, it's just that their hard-earned money is a little too much. Tang Mengxing still answered truthfully. Qin Xiaoxiao was not convinced. She was extremely dissatisfied in her heart. How could Sumoli find a husband who was so young, handsome and rich? And Chen Dabia beside him is already over 50 years old. In contrast, feelings of inferiority spread. It's not a good habit for a young man to brag. Chen Dabia still refused to believe it. In his eyes, Tang Mengxing's clothes were ordinary. Although they were not from street stalls, they were ordinary clothes that cost 200 or 300 yuan each. Hey! Do you know Richard Miller? I really am a rich second generation. Tang Mengxing suddenly rolled up his sleeves and shook the watch on his wrist. My dad said, no, my dad's housekeeper said it was about 3 million. I don't know exactly, but it should be about the same. How could Chen Dabia not recognize this watch? It is indeed genuine. It was my own fault that I was short-sighted. I could buy a car with 1 million yuan and a house with 5 million yuan. But I don't have the courage to spend 2 or 3 million to buy a watch. Qin Xiaoxiao couldn't say anything at this time, and quietly let go of the hand that was holding Chen Dabia's arm. Your watch is worth more than 3 million. Sumoli was shocked. I saw you yesterday, you have several. Oh. Those are not as expensive as this one, they are between 500,000 and 2.5 million. Tang Mengxing said it lightly, as if it was a commonplace matter. In fact, this was all pretend. When Tang Mengxing first learned that his parents were so rich, his expression was similar to Sumoli's current expression. And inside Sumoli's head, 2 monsters were fighting. One is desire, the other is restraint. Desire, I want them all, that's great. So many bags, I want them all. So beautiful. Reserved, Sumoli, where is your upbringing? You just got married. You've already spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on someone. What are you going to pay back? Desire, what? He's your husband. What's wrong with spending some money? He doesn't seem to be short of money at all. Reserved, where are your morals? Where are your accomplishments? You are not the kind of girl who loves vanity. Yes. I am not a vain girl and I cannot be looked down upon. I cannot be materialistic. Sumoli was nervous and comforted herself rationally. I made up my mind and wanted to persuade Tang Mengxing to return the bag and take that one. Just about to speak. At this time, Tang Mengxing took a few bags and stuffed them into Sumoli's arms. Try it on, does it look good? Do you like it? Sumoli looked down, and her determination not to be materialistic was gone. Her eyes smiled like crescent moons again, and she replied, I like it. I love you, husband. After saying that, he kissed Tang Mengxing on the cheek. Go NMD and be reserved, you take a rest first. It is true that Chen Dabiao only wants to leave this place as soon as possible and he has some money. But the other party not only has a lot of money, but is also young. This thing cannot be bought with money. Let's go, Chen Dabiao urged. Qin Xiaoxiao nodded dejectedly. Tang Mengxing didn't care about the two of them. Let them do whatever they want and it's better if they don't bother him. Please deliver these packages to. Tang Mengxing gave the clerk a brief instruction and asked them to deliver the packages to his residence. He took Sumoli with him to check out other stores. Sumoli kept the one she loved most, slung it over her shoulder, and fiddled with it. His face was full of love. I visited other stores and saw LV bags and Cartier bracelets. In short, I bought a lot and spent more than 800,000 yuan in one night. Sumoli was really shocked beyond words. My jaw nearly dropped to the floor. Where did you get this money? Tang Mengxing said, I've told you so many times, it was all my dad. Oh no. My dad gave it to me. Chapter 8 Two Faces. The two were tired from playing, and it was obvious that they couldn't carry the pile of luxury goods. The store clerk sent all of them to the apartment front desk. Mengxing, you are so nice. Sumoli snuggled in Tang Mengxing's arms like a gentle kitten. Tang Mengxing bent down and kissed her forehead. Suddenly Sumoli saw something, let go of her hand abruptly, and walked forward quickly with a nervous look. Hey? What's wrong? Tang Mengxing wondered why his expression suddenly changed. Teacher Su. Student Tang Mengxing. Another voice came from the side. Tang Mengxing looked and found that they were actually classmates from the same class. Zhang Ming is there too. Fuck, Zhang Ming, didn't you say you were going to the library to study at night? Tang Mengxing was surprised to see Zhang Ming. Zhang Ming also joked, what are you talking about? Didn't you say you were going home to study? This mall is your home. Tang Mengxing smiled and said nothing. This shopping mall really is hers. The two smiled at each other and suddenly said at the same time, learn something. There were 3 classmates next to me, 1 boy and 2 girls, all classmates. Teacher Su, a girl continued to shout. Sumoli knew she couldn't pretend she didn't hear it anymore, so she turned around and pretended to be surprised. Li Yushan, Zhu Qi, Zhang Ming, Liu Maimai, you are here too. I have to say the acting is pretty poor. Sumoli came over and greeted a few people. Tang Mengxing coughed twice, indicating that there was another person here, and he had to pretend to have just seen him and act more convincingly. After a few pleasantries, Sumoli finally came to her senses and looked at Tang Mengxing and asked, Hey? Tang Mengxing, you're here too. Tang Mengxing smiled uncomfortably, I came earlier. At this time, the girl named Li Yushan reminded in a low voice, Teacher Su. Tang Mengxing was following you just now, following behind you. Is he sick? It feels so dangerous. Sumoli shook her head seriously, no, classmate Tang is not that kind of person. Li Yushan, do you think I can't hear you? Teacher Su and I have had an in-depth understanding of each other, and she knows exactly what kind of person I am. There was something else behind Tang Mengxing's words, and only Sumoli could hear it. She couldn't help but blush to her ears. Today is Thursday. I want to see your papers on Monday. Have you finished them? Sumoli quickly changed the subject. Several people quickly fell silent and dared not speak. Har har, only Tang Mengxing was laughing. You're still laughing. You haven't written a single word. What are you laughing at? Su Modi scolded. Tang Mengxing quickly restrained himself and bowed his head to admit his mistake. I'm sorry, Teacher Su. Looking at the bag around Su Modi's waist, I realized that I had just bought it for her. The rest of the bags were sent back to the apartment, so she carried this favorite with her. And now the kitten has turned into a tiger. Well, we'll go first. Mengxing, can you come with us? Zhang Ming quickly thought about evacuating. Tang Mengxing said, you guys go, we are not going the same way, I am going home. Then several people left quickly. Zhang Ming complained, oh my god. Teacher Su is so pretty, but she's so scary when she gets angry. Several people agree with this view. Li Yushin asked, how did Teacher Su know that Tang Mengxing didn't write a single word? After a few people left, Su Modi hurriedly caught up with Tang Mengxing, who had already walked out of the mall. I could see that Tang Mengxing looked a little aggrieved. Su Modi changed her expression again, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it just now, dear husband, don't be angry. Somehow, within one day, Su Modi had two different faces in front of others and behind their backs. She started acting coquettishly towards Tang Mengxing again. At night, when Su Modi returned to the apartment, she was very happy to see the room full of bags and jewelry. Tang Mengxing looked at the time and it was already late. Moli. Be obedient later. Whatever pose I tell you to do it well. After a while of exercise, Tang Mengxing lay on the bed contentedly. The 800,000 yuan was not wasted, and many new tricks were unlocked. In one word, it was worth it. The next day, Friday. Tang Mengxing had no classes in the morning, so he was still lying on the bed in a daze, resting. Su Modi was bending over to pick up her shoes, and she was carrying her latest bag. Tang Mengxing opened his eyes and saw the girl's back, with a perfect waist-to-hip ratio. A big peach is facing me. Su Modi was picking up her shoes when she suddenly felt someone hugging her. Oh. I still have to go to work. 10 minutes, just 10 minutes. 15 minutes later, Su Modi went downstairs with the keys of the BMW X7. After all, my legs were a little weak and I couldn't walk anymore, so I had to drive there. I have had my driver's license for 3 or 4 years, but I have hardly ever driven a car. Usually the daughter drives her father's Jetta, but today the feeling of driving a luxury car is really different. Tang Mengxing was still playing with her mobile phone on the bed when a message came in. The title is, National Marriage Matching Bureau. Oh my god. So soon. Why are you doing it again? Tang Mengxing sat up straight and looked at the text message. National Marriage Matching Bureau. Dear Mr. Tang, congratulations on getting another matching opportunity. Excluding this one, you still have 9 matching opportunities. Today is the first day. 100 people have been recommended to you. You can choose freely. Please download the Marriage Matching app to proceed. Tang Mengxing quickly downloaded the app to check and found that Su Modi was already bound to his information. This information is available for checking. Of course, it is only available for the 100 people who have been screened and matched so far. Tang Mengxing's information can be viewed to know that he has matched with one person. I looked again and found that the 100 women pushed today were all of similar age. There was no one who particularly attracted Tang Mengxing's attention, but a few girls took the initiative to contact Tang Mengxing. Handsome guy, would you like to meet me? Hello, are you a student from Peking University or Tsinghua University? Hello, I'm from the art college. I have to say, compared with Su Modi, Tang Mengxing doesn't like any of these girls. Tang Mengxing was really bored, so he went to the gym on the 2nd floor. He usually didn't work out at all. I just played basketball all day and built up some muscles. So he doesn't know how to use many of the fitness equipment inside. Hello, handsome guy, would you like to apply for a card? A female coach came over and recommended enthusiastically. Tang Mengxing shook his head, I don't come here often, no need. Tang Mengxing found a treadmill and started exercising. Suddenly, there was a burst of muttering behind me, and many people were whispering. A girl in yoga clothes, with shoulder-length hair, is indescribably pretty and handsome. He gently placed the towel on the treadmill and started running next to Tang Mengxing. Tang Mengxing took a glance and staggered, almost falling. What a pretty girl. It would not be an exaggeration to describe her appearance as heroic. The girl's eyes were cold and she was focused on running. Beauty, alone, the person who spoke was not Tang Mengxing, but another boy who came over to chat with her. I don't want to get to know her. The girl answered very straightforwardly, interrupting the man's thoughts right from the beginning. The man did not give up and continued chatting. I am a corporate executive with an annual salary of 500,000. The girl said politely, go away. Sorry to bother you. The boy left quickly after hearing this. Is there something? The girl found that the boy next to her was staring at her. She knew what this kind of guy was thinking. So the attitude is not good. Chapter 9 Cousins. Oh, it's okay, you just look pretty. Tang Mengxing also had something to say, without hiding anything. The girl said, don't you think this is quite rude? It's quite rude, but I can't help it. Can you go for a run? Otherwise I really can't bear to look at you. Tang Mengxing spoke very sincerely, and the girl didn't know how to respond. She admitted her mistake and even praised herself for being pretty in a disguised way. This is rude, but pleasant to hear. But the girl still picked up the towel and walked to the treadmill to continue exercising. There are two little white rabbits on the chest, jumping up and down rhythmically. The vest line between the waist and abdomen is clearly visible. Good figure. Tang Mengxing secretly said, don't look at what is inappropriate, don't look at what is inappropriate. He closed his eyes and ran madly. The running made a lot of noise, attracting the attention of people around. Brother, you're running so fast, you'll get tired in a little while. The girl next to him couldn't help laughing when she saw him like this. Har, shit, I'm so tired. After a few minutes, Tang Mengxing felt like he had sprinted for several thousand meters. I was so tired that I sat on the ground and gasped for breath. The short-haired girl came over and handed him a bottle of water. Don't die. Thank you. Tang Mengxing took the water and said, get away from me, I don't want to see you. You're so damn beautiful, and you're going to say I have no manners. Go away. He looks very serious and the girl is speechless. Is this brother complimenting or is he serious? My name is Lin Yushang, the girl stretched out her hand and said with a smile, you are so funny. Tang Mengxing looked like a puppy at this time, staring at the other party. My name is Tang Mengxing, how much is this water? I'll transfer it to you. Oh, no need. Lin Yushang waved her hand, picked up her bag and walked out. She didn't want to add other boys on WeChat. The reason she chatted with Tang Mengxing was because this brother was very interesting. In the parking lot, Lin Yushang changed into a black leather jacket and a pair of tight pants. He took the helmet and put it on. A black motorcycle was parked on the side. He stretched out his long legs, took a step over, and rode on the bike. Boom! The engine roared and Lin Yushang sped away. At 1:30 in the afternoon, Tang Mengxing drove a Koenigsegg and parked in the parking lot opposite the school. The BMW X7 was driven away by Sumoli, and she could no longer park her car at school. Having just parked his Koenigsegg worth more than 20 million yuan, Tang Mengxing began to feel bad about the parking fee of 5 yuan per hour. People are like this. Tang Mengxing can recharge his game coins worth hundreds of dollars, buy milk tea worth more than $10 whenever he wants, but he feels bad about paying $5 an hour for parking. Strolling into the classroom, Tang Mengxing breathed a sigh of relief as there was no Sumoli's class today. Now when I attend her class, I feel inexplicably nervous, afraid that she will call on me. Mengxing, let me tell you something. Zhang Ming sat down next to him. Have you heard? Teacher Su drove a BMW X7 here early this morning. I heard it was a gift from her husband. Tang Mengxing, who had just opened his notebook, frowned. How did you know? Did you see it with your own eyes? Zhang Ming whispered, I heard that the news spread around the school. How could the news about Teacher Su not spread quickly? You don't know, since they found out that she was married, many boys have wanted to kill her husband. I don't know who has such good luck, don't you think? Tang Mengxing didn't take it seriously and said, why do you care so much? Just stay in class. Zhang Ming looked at him and thought that this kid took advantage of me and is still acting like a good kid. He just forcefully kissed me and now he is acting so high and mighty. You didn't really follow me yesterday, did you? Don't be foolish. We don't do anything illegal. I'll introduce you to a beautiful girl tomorrow. Zhang Ming kept chattering, and Tang Mengxing became annoyed and simply ignored him. For an entire afternoon, Tang Mengxing listened to the course attentively. He had to suppress his inner restlessness and at least give himself an explanation. After all, he was in a favorable situation in his life now. Tang Mengxing missed Sumoli after not seeing her for the whole afternoon. After the last class, Tang Mengxing sent her a WeChat message and they made an appointment to meet in the car. Hey, you're touching me right away, why? The two of them sat in the back seat of the car. Tang Mengxing hugged Sumoli and said, I want to do something. My internship is about to start. What do you think I can do? However, Sumoli did not respond, but just said, just talk, take your hands out of me. Tang Mengxing then reluctantly pulled his hand out of her collar, smelled the scent on his hand, and praised it highly, it smells like milk. Sumoli said seriously, with your family conditions, you can choose to start a business, or go to your own company to work or intern. Your parents are definitely not farmers, right? This is also understandable. How can farmers who work on the land afford luxury cars? In the past, Tang Mengxing was very clear about his future, to join a big company, work hard and make some money. But now I don't have to do anything, and money is pouring into my pocket, and I feel confused again. I'm right, someone saw you driving a BMW into school today, and it spread. I know, but in the morning, after exercising in the morning, I really can't walk anymore. Sumoli didn't want this to happen, but there was no way. Tang Mengxing's car was not ordinary. Tang Mengxing said, so I have another Panamera, which is more suitable for you. You can drive that one in the future. The appearance of Porsche cars is very popular among girls. Sumoli is of course aware of this, and the two little monsters in her heart appeared again. The reserved man dies with his eyes open, and the desire is won effortlessly. But I still asked worriedly, I want to be low-key, won't you make me more high-profile? Tang Mengxing said, why are you being low-key? They all say that you found a rich second-generation guy, which is true, but they just don't know it's me. Just be at ease and be your rich wife. Don't pay attention to these rumors. With Tang Mengxing's reassurance, Sumoli also thought it through. Since the rumor had already spread, she might as well show it off to them. The two of them sat in the back seat of the car. Tang Mengxing pulled Sumoli up and put her on his lap. Give me a kiss and then go back. You drive and I'll walk. Just as the two were being intimate, a car drove slowly by. The dean saw the BMW in front of him and remembered the rumors in the school today. Is this Sumoli's car? The dean stepped on the brake to slow down the car, lowered the window and looked carefully. Is there anyone inside? Sumoli and, that guy is Tang Mengxing, right? Aren't they cousins? In an instant, the dean's CPU was burned out. What the hell? What kind of logic is this? Chapter 10 Cancelling. After returning to the apartment, the two became affectionate again. As soon as I entered the elevator, I heard hurried footsteps. Wait a moment, a pair of hands pressed the gap of the elevator, and a short-haired girl in professional attire walked in. Tang Mengxing was shocked. Isn't he this Lin Yushang from that day? At this time, she changed into a professional suit and wore black-rimmed glasses. Lin Yushang and Sumoli looked at each other, and they both secretly said, so beautiful. Tang Mengxing pretended not to know it and stared at the billboard in the elevator in a daze. Lin Yushang and Sumoli smiled at each other and looked at the button again. Are you also on the 16th floor? Sumoli opened her eyes wide and said, Yes. You too. The two girls started the conversation. What do you do? Teachers from Peking University and Tsinghua University. Oh, that's amazing, who is he? Oh, he's my classmate, my husband. Sumoli almost let the cat out of the bag again. Lin Yushang looked at Tang Mengxing, who was pretending not to know her, and said, oh, brother. It's you. Didn't you recognize me? Tang Mengxing was still looking at the advertisement. Is this woman also on the 16th floor? What a coincidence. This high-end apartment has 4 elevators and 2 households, so the privacy is quite good. That means she lives across the street. Mengxing, someone is asking you? Do you know each other? Sumoli reminded him quickly when she saw that he didn't say anything. Lin Yushang saw that Tang Mengxing was not very old and must be younger than her, so she called him brother all the time. Tang Mengxing then turned around. Oh, isn't this there? Lin. Sister Lin. Tang Mengxing was a little embarrassed as he couldn't remember the other person's name for a moment. Lin Yuchang nodded and puffed out her chest, smiling slightly. Here we are, come to my house when you have time. Leave a pure smile for people to savor. Hey, Mengxing, she is so beautiful and handsome. Sumoli was a little excited. Oh. Tang Mengxing didn't say anything, but her heart was also moved. It was true that Lin Yuchang was very straightforward in her speech, especially her pair of canine teeth, which made her smile a bit evil. By the way, her hair is shorter again today. It was shoulder length the other day, but today it's ear length, said Tang Mengxing. Sumoni grabbed his ear and said, "You just pretended not to know me, but now you even remember the length of my hair." I was wrong. The two did not go out for dinner. Sumoni showed off her skills and cooked several of her signature dishes. After spending time together today, she was very satisfied, extremely satisfied. At least, apart from being a student, Tang Mengxing meets all of her criteria for a partner. Sumoni finished eating early, sat at the desk, turned on the computer and was working on something, and reminded Mengxing, "Tomorrow is Saturday. There are still 2 days left, don't forget to do your paper." At this time, Tang Mengxing was eating chicken legs, drinking Coke, and watching the variety show with relish. "I feel overwhelmed when I hear this. Can you give me 2 days? I finally have a day off." Sumoni rejected it firmly. "No, don't think you can skip homework just because you are my husband. I won't see your homework on Monday, next week you can just be a monk." I didn't expect Sumoni to take her work so seriously. Tang Mengxing had just tasted love, so there was no way he could endure it for a week. Without further ado, he took out his computer, sat opposite Sumoni and started writing. Fortunately, Tang Mengxing has a solid foundation and can write 5,000 words quickly. After an hour and a half, 2,800 words had been completed, but I didn't know how to answer some of the questions at the end. "Teacher Su, please take a look at what I wrote. Is it correct? Should it be like this?" Tang Mengxing devoted himself wholeheartedly and put himself into the shoes of his student again. Sumoni was also very responsible and gave Tang Mengxing some guidance. "It's almost 10:30. Done." Tang Mengxing finally finished writing. Sumoni took his computer, looked at it, and couldn't help feeling relieved. It can be seen that Tang Mengxing is talented and has solid basic knowledge. It's well written. "You can make some minor revisions to a few places and hand it to me on Monday," Sumoni said with a smile. After saying this, they were both stunned, smiled at each other, and unknowingly, they put themselves into the teacher-student relationship again. At this time, the phone rang. Tang Mengxing saw that it was Zhang Ming calling. "What's wrong?" Zhang Ming said, "Axing, let's go for a drink tomorrow. I've made an appointment with Zhu Qi and some girls from the same school. I have to say that Zhang Ming is a good friend and he never eats alone. What time is it?" Tang Mengxing got up and walked into the bathroom. "It's 11:30 noon. 3 boys, 200 each. The girls are free, okay." Tang Mengxing glanced at Sumoni, who was still working. "Okay. See you tomorrow," Tang Mengxing replied and hung up the phone. Tang Mengxing realized that he still had 10 places, so he had to take the initiative and not just sit there and wait for death. Your luck won't always be so good that you can match with a girl like Sumoni. What if the next time it turns out to be a deformed melon or a jujube? I will have to swallow my broken teeth. Mo Li, Zhang Ming and I are going to have a party at noon tomorrow, so we won't be eating together. I've transferred 20,000 yuan to you, so go buy something you like to eat. Sumoni saw that she had received another transfer on WeChat. "Didn't you just give me 100,000? I can't spend so much." In her heart, she has become very dependent on Tang Mengxing, and she thinks that the more she can save, the better. But Tang Mengxing insisted that she accept it. Unable to persuade him, Sumoni accepted the money. There was no conversation overnight, and it was rainy on Saturday morning. It was not until 9 o'clock in the morning that Sumoni went downstairs to buy some breakfast, which was nothing more than fried dumplings, porridge, and fried dough sticks. "Mengxing, get up," Sumoni's gentle voice sounded, but Tang Mengxing did not move. Sumoni quietly lay on her side beside Tang Mengxing, looking at this big boy, from his eyebrows to his eyes, from his eyes to his nose, and then to his mouth, and she couldn't help but move closer. "I want to secretly give him a kiss." Bo, Tang Mengxing suddenly woke up at this time, and kissed Sumoni with a slight lift of her lips. You're not awake." The girl was nervous and a little shy. "Teacher Su, you were too close, your breath sprayed on my face, how could I not wake up? It was just that when I opened my eyes, I saw your beautiful face, and I kissed you reflexively." At noon, Tang Mengxing took the bus directly to the place where he had agreed to meet Zhang Ming. The purpose of this trip is to pick up girls. Zhang Ming is a brother, so he should remember to call me. Therefore, I can't act like I'm worth 2.58 million and drive a luxury car over there. Zhang Ming and Zhu Qi are made to look like supporting roles. We are all students, so to be fair, just take the bus. On the bus, Tang Mengxing used his cell phone as a mirror and kept looking at his appearance. If nothing else, neither of them is as handsome as me. Tang Mengxing was in a good mood. Although he said it was for his brothers, if there was really a good-looking one, of course he would grab it first. A pedestrian street in Yangjing. Lao Zhang, Zhu Qi, Tang Mengxing glanced at the two of them and greeted them. Zhang Ming also waved. When I got closer, I found a Mercedes-Benz E300 behind the two men. Whose car is this? Tang Mengxing asked. Zhang Mingdao, Zhu Qi's. Zhu Qi showed off the keys in his hand. I rented this. I saved up for 2 months. Today I'll show off with you too. Tang Mengxing punched him and said, You bastard, you want to pretend. Zhu Qi suddenly turned into a pleading voice, Mengxing, there is a girl here whom I like very much. I have loved her for 3 years. I have liked her since the day I entered the school. Please help me and be my wingman. Today, call me Brother Zhu. In the future, I will work like a slave to you. Tang Mengxing laughed and didn't care. Invite us to dinner alone later. Okay. No problem. As we were talking, a few girls came. That Zhao Shen. Zhu Qi whispered to remind the two which girl he liked. Tang Mengxing didn't know any of these 3 girls, and it was obvious that they were not from his department. One of them stood out, so beautiful. I came to the right place. It's over. Zhang Ming on the side suddenly said, Why is Mu Yunqi here? It's over. What the hell? Tang Mengxing was confused by what he heard. Mu Yunqi, one of the 4 campus beauties. The other 3 are already taken, but this one is still single. Zhang Ming quickly explained. Tang Mengxing said, Isn't this good? What a bullshit. Do you know who chases after the school beauties? Those 3 are with rich second generations, and they are picked up and dropped off in sports cars. If the 3 of us spend 600 yuan to treat them, they will follow you? You are dreaming. We can't afford it. Zhang Ming is very self-aware. Although the school belle is pretty, it's a pity that he can't catch up with her. Mengxing, you got Mu Yunqi, I'll flirt with another one, brother, at least you have a handsome face, I have nothing. At the critical moment, you still have to stab your brothers twice. Compared to Mu Yunqi, the other girls are also good-looking and easier to pursue. Damn, are the 3 of us going to the same school? How do you two know so much? Tang Mengxing felt that the things in this guy's mind were completely different from his own. Look at Mu Yunqi, she was calm and expressionless, just walking slowly towards Zhao Shen. Hello. It was Zhu Qi who greeted them, and then introduced Tang Mengxing and Zhang Ming. This is Zhao Shen, these 2 are my brothers. After a few pleasantries, Mu Yunqi suddenly stretched out her hand and smiled at Tang Mengxing. Hello, my name is Mu Yunqi, nice to meet you. So proactive. Tang Mengxing stretched out her hand and shook it gently. The girl was indeed pretty, with a standard oval face, long straight black hair that fell on her chest, and a pair of eyes as bright and moving as autumn water. Somewhat charming and playful. Wearing a belly-bearing outfit, her sexy waist and abdomen lines are very attractive. Zhang Ming and Zhu Qi were also stunned. Is this school beauty so approachable? But it was only for Tang Mengxing. Something is wrong. There must be something wrong when things are abnormal. Tang Mengxing stretched out his hand and held Mu Yunqi's hand, but he couldn't pull it back. Hey, classmate Mu, can you let go of your hands? Mu Yunqi finally reacted and quickly let go, sorry. Tang Mengxing certainly didn't think that she was attracted by his handsomeness, but he felt embarrassed that the girl was so proactive when they met for the first time. Zhang Ming felt a little regretful. He didn't expect Mu Yunqi to be so enthusiastic. Whose car is this? Another girl named Liu Zhiqi asked. Then it must belong to my brother Zhu. Tang Mengxing said, and gave Zhu Qi a look that said, I understand. Zhu Qi also started to act like a fool. Hey. It's not a big deal. My parents insisted on buying it for me. I don't usually drive it. Zhao Shen's face flushed, and she took Zhu Qi's arm and said, then you will take us there later. This move is undoubtedly a declaration of sovereignty, and Zhu Qi is sure to win. Mu Yunqi also quietly approached Tang Mengxing. The two of them standing together were indeed a perfect match, but the boy was a little uneasy, and the girl was a little too proactive. Mu Yinxi, one of the foremost beautiful girls on campus, has extremely high standards. Several other school beauties have been pursued, but she is the only one who doesn't like anyone and usually acts like she doesn't want anyone to approach her. Although she envied the other campus beauties who drove sports cars, she expected better. At least in terms of appearance, she is considered the most beautiful girl in school. Even all the school beauties in the past were not as pretty as her, except for one other person in the school, Sumoli. But he is a teacher, how can he be compared with a student? So her boyfriend is better than those other school beauties. Until one day, Mu Yunxi went to the shopping mall opposite the school in the morning and bought a cup of coffee. She saw Tang Mengxing driving a unique-looking sports car and parked it in the mall. I have never ridden in a sports car, but I have seen quite a few. After all, there are many rich people in Yangjing. I basically know what Ferrari and Lamborghini look like, but Tang Mengxing's car looks a little strange. But she didn't pay much attention to it. It was only when she arrived at the school gate that she found out that the boy was actually a student of the same school. Mu Yunxi couldn't help but become curious. I followed Tang Mengxing for a distance and found out that he was at the School of Economics and Management. Then I looked for the sports car, but I didn't know the name of the car and couldn't find it after searching for a long time. Later, I described it to other male classmates who like cars and found out that it was a Pagani Huayra, which costs 48 million. Mu Yunxi was attracted. Money was the main factor, but the boy's temperament and appearance were also important plus points. Perfect standards for choosing a partner. Mu Yunxi knew that some of the girls from her relatives' families had already matched and got married. I don't want to wait until that day, and I don't want to have to choose someone I look down upon. So I tried to find out more about that handsome guy in a roundabout way these past 2 days. Knowing that Zhaoxin and Zhu Qi, who shared the same dormitory, were close, I deliberately asked casually, Xinshin, are there any handsome boys in the School of Economics and Management? Are they all ugly? Zhaoxin was honest and took out her phone to show her, there is a guy pursuing me named Zhu Qi. I am still testing him, but he has a best friend named Tang Mengxing. I have only seen his photo. He is very handsome. Let me show you. Zhaoxin opened Zhu Qi's circle of friends and saw a group photo of Tang Mengxing, Zhang Ming and Zhu Qi taken a long time ago. Mu Yunxi recognized him immediately. He was the handsome guy from that day. Tang Mengxing, Tang Mengxing. At this moment, Mu Yunxi was staring at Tang Mengxing infatuatedly, feeling a little embarrassed by the other party. You girls order the food. Tang Mengxing handed the menu to Zhaoxin. After all, as Zhu Qi's wingman, he had to do his job well. Chapter 12 Sweeter Than Sugar. A few people were in a home-cooked restaurant, which was quite affordable. 600 yuan is enough to eat a full meal, and it is also very popular among nearby students. Several girls also politely said goodbye and each ordered an ordinary dish which cost no more than 100 yuan in total, and then handed the menu back. Zhu Qi took the menu and asked, "What do you want to eat, brothers?" Tang Mengxing and Zhang Ming both said they didn't care. Mu Yunxi took out her phone and said, "Add WeChat." Tang Mengxing was too embarrassed to refuse such a sudden initiative. Zhang Ming sent him a WeChat message, "Brother, you are safe tonight. Are you short of money?" "I have the money for the hotel." Tang Mengxing looked down at his phone and replied, "He has money, but it's not what I thought. Why is Mu Yunxi still paying for him?" Zhang Ming took a look at Tang Mengxing's reply and rolled his eyes. This guy is so Versailles. Can't anyone see that this is a self-defeating move? This kind of thing can't be obtained even if others ask for it. The stock market has been booming recently, and many investors have expressed confidence in the future. The news was playing on the TV at the side, and a few people chatted about it casually. The dishes were also fully served. Ding! Your bank card number ends with 1766, 200 million yuan has been credited. Tang Mengxing's cell phone on the table suddenly rang. Bang! Tang Mengxing slapped the phone. The huge noise scared everyone. "No, Arxing, are you so angry while eating? You're going to flip the table." Zhang Ming made a joke, and Tang Mengxing's expression became serious. Suddenly, he forced a smile and said, "Oh, this ringtone is a bit awkward. Sorry." Zhu Qi also laughed and said, "Har har, there was a period of time when my ringtone was 5 million in my account, har har." Everyone else thought it was a ringtone, but Tang Mengxing knew that he had never set such a ringtone. It is obvious that 200 million yuan really arrived. I secretly opened my cell phone and saw a message from my mother. The stock market is rising. My son is doing well in his studies. Please give him some pocket money and hope you will have a baby soon. It fits the tone of my mother's age very well. She likes to use this kind of earthy limericks. There is also a picture attached, which shows a bunch of big red flowers flashing around, and 2 words, come on. This cheesy GIF is very consistent with my mother's personality. What's wrong, Mom? Why did you transfer money to me? I made money from stocks, and I miss my big baby. I'll give you some pocket money. Study hard and eat well. The mother and daughter chatted for a while. Far away in Europe, in a French manor, Tang Mengxing's mother Zhang Yuanying was wearing a facial mask and eating breakfast. You made over 30 billion from stocks, and left 200 million to your son. Will you deduct it? Tang Hai on the side accused. What does my money have to do with you? Just take care of yourself. You've made hundreds of billions in the past 6 months, and what you gave me isn't much. Har. Yang Jing. Tang Mengxing's expression was a little complicated. He was excited about receiving 200 million, but he didn't dare to show it too much. Mu Yanxi was observing his micro-expressions. It can't be true. Thinking of his top-of-the-line sports car, Mu Yanxi firmly believed that what just now was not a ringtone. Hey, did you know that teacher Sumoli drives a BMW X7? I heard it's the top model, costing over 1.4 million. Somehow, the topic suddenly turned to Sumoli. I'm so envious. I'm really envious. She's beautiful and her husband is rich, Liu Juqi said with an admiring look on her face. Zhang Ming coughed dryly, it's nothing. People from our school are basically social elites. This kind of car. It's hard to say what's next. It's true that students at Peking University and Tsinghua University are elites, but they are also divided into different levels. Maybe Zhang Ming will have a good income in the future, but due to the great social pressure, buying a house is a big deal. With a normal income level, it would probably take 10 to 8 years to save up for a down payment. Then there are education, medical expenses, raising children, etc. If you want to buy another $1 million luxury car, the pressure will be even greater. We don't need it. It's fine for us to drive a Mercedes, right, Zhu Qi? Zhao Xun said with a smile. Zhu Qi felt a little embarrassed. After all, the car was rented, so he could only reply, yes, yes. Mengxing, do you have a car? Mu Yanxi suddenly spoke, testing him. Tang Mengxing hesitated for a moment, yes. More than 40 million per car. Are you telling the truth? Mu Yanxi was stunned. Subway. Tang Mengxing added. Several people burst into laughter. Speaking of Sumoli, Mu Yanxi felt a little competitive. Beautiful women are always like this, even if she is a teacher. But the age difference is not that big. Just got married and traded in your electric car for a BMW. Mu Yanxi looked at him with disdain. I'll change to a Porsche if I can get Tang Mengxing. She thought so, but she always felt that Tang Mengxing was not interested in her, or was not that proactive. In fact, it's not that Tang Mengxing was not proactive. When he met Mu Yanxi today, Tang Mengxing had already listed her as a suitable candidate. As long as I can be with Mu Yanxi before the matching deadline, I can get the certificate. Then the state will give priority to your independent choice and cancel this matching. But there are plenty of ways to pursue girls, whether it's throwing money at them or saying sweet words. But this is the first time I see a girl paying for someone so actively, and she is a school beauty. This suddenly awakened Tang Mengxing's puppy gene, and he started to become a little shy. Passive feels pretty good too. At this time, Mu Yanxi took out something from her bag, held it in her hand and stretched it in front of Tang Mengxing. Stretch out your hand, Mu Yanxi said. Tang Mengxing was stunned, and stretched out his hand, opening it and waiting for the other party to give it to him. Mu Yanxi smiled and let go, and a piece of candy fell into Tang Mengxing's hand. Hee. Here's something for you to eat, Mu Yanxi smiled foolishly. The 3 boys were so confused by the scene, it was so alluring. Zhang Ming and Zhu Qi looked at each other. They were dating? This feeling was sweeter than sugar. Do you have your ID card with you? Zhang Ming whispered to Tang Mengxing. In his opinion, Tang Mengxing will definitely get on base tonight. Tang Mengxing touched his pocket and said, damn, I didn't bring it. But he was not in a hurry and went back to explain to Sumoli first. After lunch, Zhu Qi took Zhao Shen to go on a date somewhere else. Zhang Ming and Liu Zhiqi didn't make any progress and went home separately, while Tang Mengxing and Mu Yunxi were walking on the street at this time. Mu Yunxi was a little nervous at this time, because Tang Mengxing did not drive here today, and the school was 6 or 7 stops away. It takes half an hour to walk. There were many people around, so the two of them were a little reserved. Now it was just the two of them, and they talked a lot, but the more they talked, the more something seemed wrong. From Tang Mengxing's description, Mu Yunxi didn't think he looked like a rich second generation, but rather very simple and unpretentious. When he talked about his past experiences, they were all very ordinary, such as going abroad to attend summer camps, his parents throwing him a luxurious graduation banquet, etc., a series of experiences that only rich second generations can have. In short, it gives people the feeling that the person is very outstanding but has an ordinary background. Did I see it wrong? No way, or is he deliberately keeping a low profile? Mu Yunxi was a little unsure. Chapter 13 Boyfriend. The more they talked, the more Mu Yunxi felt that he didn't look like a rich man. No surprises, nothing special. Tang Mengxing also noticed the girl's change and suddenly became cold. This change almost kicked Mu Yunxi off his shortlist. He doesn't consider girls who are fickle or emotionally unstable. The weather was a bit hot and humid. Tang Mengxing looked at the store nearby and asked, "Do you want some ice cream?" "Okay, oh. No, I can't eat cold food recently." Mu Yunxi suddenly changed her mind. Maybe it was intentional. Tang Mengxing remembered that she also drank a large glass of ice drink while eating. Now suddenly I can't drink anymore, which is obviously a hint that I don't want to have any contact anymore. Not knowing what he did wrong, Tang Mengxing didn't just walk away for the sake of face. I just bought myself an ice cream and ate it with relish. The two of them walked like this. The atmosphere was a little cold, and Tang Mengxing felt that Mu Yunxi seemed like a different person again. The cool and aloof school beauty style is back again. It's really hard to figure out. I'm here. Just walk along this road for 10 minutes and you will reach the school, Tang Mengxing said to her, pointing ahead. Mu Yunxi looked up at the tall building in front of her, but couldn't tell what it was. You live here? Tang Mengxing took a bite of ice cream and replied, yes. Mu Yunxi wanted to test him one last time. If he really was like that, she would not go back to school for the time being and would ask him to go somewhere else to play together. If not, then go back to school. But it was clearly him that I saw that day. Was I seeing things? Or did he just look a bit like the boy driving the sports car? Student Tang, you. Before he could finish his words, 2 sports cars came speeding over. Stopped by the roadside. Yunxi. For men and women got out of the car. So beautiful. Tang Mengxing's eyes suddenly lit up. The 2 girls who came greeted Mu Yunxi with a smile. Yuning. Xiao Ying, Mu Yunxi also greeted happily. Tang Mengxing had no impression of these 2 names, but he didn't know that they were students of the same school and were among the 4 school beauties. There are some connections between the school beauties, and the circle is there. But there is no bloody plot, and the relationship between the characters is pretty good. Are you going back to school? Are you going to the Disney fireworks party tonight? Asked Zhu Yuning, one of the school beauties. There were 2 boys behind the 2 of them, who didn't look very old. Our fireworks show. Mu Yunxi's eyes revealed a hint of desire. I don't know. What time? It starts at 6:30. We are going to go there. Let's play for a while first. Out of politeness, Tang Mengxing wanted to tell them that he was leaving first. But I never had the chance to speak. Your boyfriend? Zhu Yuning looked at Tang Mengxing, who seemed to want to speak. Tang Mengxing, no. Mu Yunxi, not yet. The 2 spoke almost at the same time, and Tang Mengxing directly denied it. But Mu Yunxi's words, not yet, are somewhat intriguing. Mu Yunxi's face was cold and she was hesitant. Who doesn't want to marry into a good family? Perhaps I am indecisive. Is that so, handsome guy? Zhu Yuning teased. In Tang Mengxing's mind, Mu Yunxi kept appearing on the blacklist. It was a little more stable at this time. Maybe I don't take the initiative. Tang Mengxing thought about it and realized that he was naive. It's easy to win over Mu Yunxi. It's also easy to win over most girls. I have the ability to do so. But I always want to experience the sweetness of love. This kind of pure love is a bit unrealistic. Thinking of Sumoli, material determines the superstructure. First, lay a good material foundation, and there will be plenty of time for romance later. Yunxi, let's go to the amusement park to watch the fireworks. Wait a minute, I'll go drive. Rather than using money, Tang Mengxing wanted to conquer Mu Yunxi with his personal charm, but unfortunately he was overthinking it. Maybe it was okay before college, but now that they have come into contact with society, they have become more realistic. Hey! Yunxi, what car does your boyfriend drive? Asked another school beauty, Wu Ying. I don't know either. Mu Yunxi didn't notice that the other party was asking about her boyfriend. I just accepted it because I was so into it, my mind was full of anticipation. The boyfriends of the two school beauties before drove Lamborghinis. Tang Mengxing shouldn't be that bad. Boom, there was a roar of engine at the exit of the parking lot. The sound was deafening. Mu Yunxi felt much more at ease after hearing it. She knew that this was not the sound that an ordinary car could make. A black sports car jumped out. Mu Yunxi couldn't understand it. She didn't know much about cars. She only knew some famous cars, and this one looked very beautiful. But I can't remember its name, and it doesn't have the sharp edges and corners like a Lamborghini or Ferrari. It looks more like a coupe. It won't be cheap, right? Mu Yunxi didn't dare to look at other people. Fuck. Bugatti Chiron. A boy could tell what brand the car was at a glance. No. Sister, who is your boyfriend? Mu Yunxi didn't dare to say anything else, she just said, he is my classmate. We are childhood sweethearts. Seeing the shock in the eyes of the two boys, Mu Yunxi immediately concluded that Tang Mengxing was a genuine rich man. So hurry up and declare sovereignty. How much is the landing price? The boy continued to ask. Mu Yunxi had no idea, so she could only make up a story. After all, her childhood sweetheart had already boasted about it, about 8 million. The two boys laughed. You should check your boyfriend's private money. He must have cheated you out of 8 million. We don't know the price, but we know that this car must have started at half 100 million. Wow. I didn't realize that your boyfriend is so arrogant, Yunxi. Zhu Yuning also said enviously. Tang Mengxing parked the car, rolled down the window, and was still eating ice cream in the house, but it was almost melting. Get in the car. Mu Yunxi nodded excitedly, but still pretended to be used to it. She walked to the front of the car with graceful steps, her long hair swaying in the wind. Because of the belly-bearing outfit she wore, her flat belly was clearly visible. A pair of black tights shows off the perfect legs. Mu Yunxi had never ridden in a sports car, but she had seen others ride in one. He followed suit and sat down on the seat first, then moved his feet in. It was this action that made Tang Mengxing take a glance and see another peach. I really want to draw her. Although Mu Yunxi looks pure, her makeup is cool and elegant. Switching back and forth between the cool and aloof queen and the cute and adorable lowly. As long as he doesn't smile, you always feel that this person has a cold temperament, but when he smiles, his true nature is exposed and he is very cute. Tang Mengxing took a bite of ice cream and said, "Let's go." Mu Yunxi suddenly approached and took the ice cream in Tang Mengxing's hand. "Drive carefully, I'll hold it for you." Tang Mengxing didn't stop her and gave her the few remaining bites of ice cream. Then he said, "That's all, throw it away if it doesn't work." The car started. Mu Yunxi did not throw away the ice cream, but slowly put it into her mouth, not caring about Tang Mengxing's saliva. He started eating by himself. Oh my god! Didn't I just tell you not to eat cold food? Tang Mengxing found it funny. Was her menstrual period cured by her luxury car? How could he not know that Mu Yunxi was performing this for him? Chapter 14, Out of the Masses. There were quite a lot of people in the amusement park, and by the time Tang Mengxing and his companions arrived, it was already packed. But later, Tang Mengxing suddenly felt that if he captured Mu Yunxi, he would have to explain to Sumoli. This is the situation in Longhua, and no one thinks there is anything wrong with it. Tang Mengxing called Sumoli. After Sumoli heard this, she didn't think anything of it, but she also knew Mu Yunxi. Students who choose their own elective courses. Sumoli thought for a moment and told Tang Mengxing not to tell Mu Yunxi about their situation. Prepare to play a trick on yourself. Mengxing. Look at that. Mu Yunxi was unusually active, just because she met the person of her dreams. There were 6 people, 3 men and 3 women, and two couples holding hands or hugging each other's shoulders. Mengxing. Mu Yinxi's name also became more intimate. Tang Mengxing turned his head and waited for the other party to continue speaking. Mu Yinxi said half-jokingly, "Just now they said you are my boyfriend." Mu Yinxi waited for the other party's reply. She had been proactive enough, but to break the window paper, Tang Mengxing had to come in person. Tang Mengxing touched his pocket. When he went to drive the car just now, he not only drove it out, but also took his ID card. Isn't it? If he didn't capture Mu Yinxi today, wouldn't his trip be in vain? Besides, he didn't have much time left, and he would have to force her to bind him in a few days. Hearing Tang Mengxing's answer, Mu Yinxi stuck out her tongue playfully, then turned around, looked ahead, and waited for the boy's next move. Tang Mengxing knew that it had been done. Why should he be polite? He grabbed Mu Yinxi's hand and the girl did not resist. Just hold your hand and head to the next attraction. The fireworks at the castle at night are very beautiful. The hotel's big bed is even more comfortable. I want to take off these cat ears. Mu Yinxi still wore the headdress she had bought. Tang Mengxing said, "Wear it, it's so cute." The next morning, Mu Yinxi returned to the dormitory. "Yinxi, where did you go last night?" "You didn't answer the phone," asked her roommate with concern. Mu Yinxi looked in the mirror, tidied up her hair that was messed up by Tang Mengxing, and replied casually, "Oh, I went out to play." The roommate didn't care, but just saw the latest LV bag that Mu Yinxi put on the bed after she came in. Newly bought. Several roommates didn't believe it was real and leaned over to take a look, but they couldn't tell it was fake. Mu Yinxi suddenly smiled proudly and said, "My boyfriend gave it to me. I just finished breakfast this morning and he insisted on buying it for me. I have no choice." Several roommates knew that with Mu Yinxi's conditions, the boyfriend she was looking for would definitely not be someone who would spend hundreds of dollars on fake goods. This bag must be real. A few people searched and found the price online was 65,000 yuan. Several roommates were extremely envious and jealous. This morning, when they passed by the LV store, Tang Mengxing took her directly in to pick out a bag. At the price of 65,000, Tang Mengxing had no hesitation. Seeing the boy paying the bill with ease, Mu Yinxi began to feel complacent. "This is my man." After asking for Mu Yinxi's consent, several roommates began to tinker with the bag. Indeed, this thing is too tempting for women. "What's in the bag?" Chen, one of my roommates, opened the bag and took a look. "Oh my god, La Perni Platinum Cream." Another roommate had seen this online, a top-notch skincare product that costs 14,000 yuan each. "Mu Yinxi, are you going to leave the masses?" Chen complained, "Comparing yourself to others will only make you angry." "I don't want to either. My boyfriend may have too much money to spend." Mu Yinxi put a cute expression in front of the mirror. She was indeed very charming. Tang Mengxing really had a lot of money but nowhere to spend it, and his desires had been greatly satisfied recently. "I'm thinking of buying myself some clothes, which will cost at least 1,000 yuan. At present, apart from the watch, the most expensive thing on my body is the shoes, but they only cost more than 500 yuan. But he really doesn't have much need for things like clothes. Most of the time, it's still about games. I no longer have to wait for the prices of those games that I had been reluctant to buy before downloading them from Steam. I have to buy them all." And the martial arts online games that he occasionally played, he also spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy costumes and make weapons. When I returned to the apartment, Su Moli was still sorting out documents. "Teacher Su, you haven't been out all day. You still have to work on vacation." Su Moli lifted her hair and sighed, "So busy." Tang Mengxing suddenly took out a set of cosmetics and waved them in front of her. "It's also a set of La Perni." Last night, Tang Mengxing told Mu Yinxi that he had 10 places. Su Moli glanced at the cosmetics without much emotion, as she was already distracted by work. "Thanks," was the simple reply. She was a little sad because Tang Mengxing and Mu Yinxi went out to have fun during the holidays. "Working overtime at home. And I stayed alone in the empty room last night. Mengxing, if Yinxi comes to live here, this place is too small to accommodate her." Su Moli looked at the room. It was 95 square meters, which was enough space, but not enough rooms. Just one bedroom. "It's okay, I still have a villa." "What else?" "The villa is not far from the school, about a 20-minute drive." Su Moli thought about it and felt that with Tang Mengxing's consumption level, it was not surprising that he had a villa. Tang Mengxing stretched lazily. Besides, the interior is already furnished, so it's easy to move in directly. It's just too big, and it's too creepy for me to live alone. Seeing that Sumoli was still concentrating on her work, Tang Mengxing didn't want to disturb her. Pick up the basketball and prepare to go down and play for a while. I've been exercising my abdominal muscles these days, but I should also exercise other parts of my body appropriately. There are several basketball hoops in the square behind the apartment, and there are not many people here at this time. Tang Mengxing was fiddling with the basketball by himself, practicing shooting. After playing for a while, I found it really boring. After throwing the ball, I had to go out of my way to pick it up. At this moment, a motorcycle came roaring over. Brother! What a coincidence! Lin Yuchang appeared here wearing a grey sports sweatshirt and a pair of sports shorts. Oh, Sister Lin! Tang Mengxing recognized her when he saw her take off her sunglasses. The basketball rolled to Lin Yuchang's feet. The girl picked up the basketball and threw it towards the basket. A beautiful arc, and the basketball fell into the net. Good shot. Tang Mengxing knew that Lin Yuchang was straightforward and loved sports. But I didn't expect that he was also good at playing basketball. However, girls are still at a disadvantage compared to boys in terms of physical conditions. Lin Yuchang patted the basketball stiffly a few times. Actually, I like playing basketball very much, but I'm not good at it, so I just practice shooting. I'm not very good at dribbling. Tang Mengxing could see this. Lin Yuchang shot again and hit it again. Then let's have a one-on-one bullfight, Lin Yuchang suggested. Tang Mengxing didn't care. He was in good physical condition and could even dunk. He was just a bit amateurish. There's nothing wrong in showing off in front of a beautiful woman. Tang Mengxing said, 5 balls. The loser will buy a drink. Chapter 15 Dunk. Who will attack first? I. Lin Yuchang asked to attack first, but Tang Mengxing didn't care. In his eyes, this was a game that was destined to be won. Today, Tang Mengxing took a closer look at Lin Yuchang. This girl is lying. After changing into sportswear, it was obvious that my breasts had shrunk a lot. Here I come, Lin Yuchang tapped the ball twice, holding the ball in his right hand and preparing to break through. Tang Mengxing disagreed in his heart, it was too slow. What? Lin Yuchang, who was not very good at dribbling just now, suddenly changed direction quickly and shook off Tang Mengxing. He dribbled the ball quickly with his left hand, very skillfully, and reached the basket in a few steps. The ball cut to his right hand and he easily scored a layup. You're not very good at dribbling, right? Tang Mengxing understood instantly that she had been fooled. Brother, don't you know that you can't trust pretty girls' words? Lululu. After saying that, Lin Yuchang made a face. Tang Mengxing noticed that she also had earrings pierced, which reflected colorful light under the sunlight. Come on. Tang Mengxing, who was defeated, was not convinced. With both hands open, he awaited the opponent's attack. Lin Yuchang stood outside the three-point line and suddenly made a three-pointer. Hollow entry. So accurate. Sister, what are you doing? Tang Mengxing was a little curious. This girl had given him so many surprises. But the other party was a girl after all, and Tang Mengxing was embarrassed to really defend her closely. But if you don't get too close to her, her skills are really good and she is hard to stop. The score went straight to 4-0. Tang Mengxing also became stubborn. It was too ridiculous to lose to a girl. The key is that she is very accurate in three-point shooting. Except for the first ball, the rest were all three-pointers. I won't give in anymore. Tang Mengxing slapped the ground and encouraged himself. Lin Yuchang took the ball again, ready to end the game. I told you to throw. Tang Mengxing stared at the opponent's movements closely and pounced directly at Lin Yuchang. Bang, a hot pot hit. After all, he was a boy, so he really let go of the difference between men and women and covered her with ease. The basketball flew very far, and Lin Yuchang was frightened by Tang Mengxing and fell heavily to the ground. You bullying people, 2 lines of tears rolled down Lin Yuchang's handsome and beautiful face, looking pitiful. It looks like he was hurt from the fall. I'm sorry, Tang Mengxing apologized quickly and wanted to support Lin Yuchang. The girl threw her hands away and pouted, I don't need your help. The girl who was so heroic just now suddenly became as weak as a little woman. Tang Mengxing sat next to her. Sister, I was wrong. The tone is very much like a little puppy. Lin Yuchang wiped her tears, glanced at him, and turned her head away angrily. I'll go buy you a drink. You scored that goal. I lost, okay. Tang Mengxing hurried to a nearby store and bought 2 bottles of drinks. When I came back, I saw Lin Yuchang had adjusted his mood and was shooting basketball. Hey, which one do you want to drink? Tang Mengxing handed it over, and Lin Yuchang took one of the 2 bottles of drinks at random. Can you dunk? Lin Yuchang suddenly asked. Tang Mengxing rubbed his shoulders twice and smiled proudly. Of course. I'll show you a. After saying that, Tang Mengxing took the basketball, started dribbling from the midfield, and took a few steps to the edge of the 3-point line. With a gentle toss, he threw the basketball towards the backboard. You call this a slam dunk? Lin Yuchang thought he was joking, but actually he couldn't do it. At this time, Tang Mengxing ran to the free throw line and jumped hard. He caught the basketball that bounced off the backboard in mid-air and slammed it into the basket. Looks cool, right? Tang Mengxing did not forget to strike a handsome pose afterwards. Lin Yuchang looked at him adoringly. I want to buckle too. You are useless, you have no height and you can't jump well. There's a shorter basketball hoop over there. Lin Yuchang pointed to another court, where the hoop was shorter and specially designed for teenagers to play. Although he is much shorter, he is still 2.6 meters tall. Lin Yuchang definitely can't reach it with her height. But she didn't care and ran over with Tang Mengxing. Do you think I can get it? After trying several times, Lin Yuchang failed to touch the backboard once. Har har, I told you can't do it. Tang Mengxing joked. Squat down. Lin Yuchang suddenly said to him. Get down. Why? Tang Mengxing seemed to know what she was going to do. Lin Yuchang was unreasonable and directly pressed Tang Mengxing's shoulders. Just squat down when I tell you to, why are you talking so much nonsense? Tang Mengxing had no choice but to do as she was told and squatted down. Madam, do you need to hold your head? Lin Yuchang burst out laughing. No need. But don't move. Oh. Tang Mengxing squatted on the ground. He knew that Lin Yuchang was going to get on his neck. Although he was not happy about it, he somehow obeyed the girl's words. I just felt 2 slender and smooth thighs stepping over my shoulders. Lin Yuchang rode directly on his neck. Tang Mengxing said, hold on tight, I'm getting up. Then he held the other person with both hands and placed them on his thighs in front of his chest, for fear that Lin Yuchang would fall. If she falls from this height, she will be in trouble. At this time, Tang Mengxing had no intention of experiencing the smoothness of the other person's legs. She just concentrated on carrying her towards the basket. Watch me. Lin Yuchang looked very excited. He held the basketball with both hands and slammed it in. Good shot, har har. Although Tang Mengxing, who was under him, couldn't see anything, he still flattered him a lot. After half an hour, Tang Mengxing didn't want to play anymore and was exhausted and panting. Sister, you treat me like a donkey. It's enough to play once or twice, but it's endless. Lin Yuchang said, let's play it another day. How about, I'll invite you and your wife to dinner tonight. Tang Mengxing naturally had no problem with it and told Sumoli that she also hoped to make friends with Lin Yuchang. Sumoli secretly told Tang Mengxing that it would be great if Lin Yuchang was a man, then Tang Mengxing would have no chance. It is true that girls are more attractive than boys when they are handsome. Can you call another person? Tang Mengxing thought of Mu Yunxi and took this opportunity to have a meal together. Lin Yuchang doesn't look like someone who is short of money, so it shouldn't be a problem to call one more person. Lin Yuchang replied happily, sure. In the evening, Tang Mengxing could never have imagined that the girls were having a great time chatting. Especially when Mu Yunxi saw Sumoli, she seemed to be choked by something and couldn't speak for the first time. How could I not know the teacher of my elective course? But they were finally able to meet in private, and their relationship quickly heated up. Not to mention Lin Yuchang, who has a straightforward personality and is a total social stunner. But for Tang Mengxing, he currently needed to carry a bunch of food upstairs and thought he was going to a restaurant. Unexpectedly, the 3 girls unanimously agreed to cook at Lin Yuchang's house. Damn, we agreed to treat you, and I bought all the ingredients. There is no girlish atmosphere in Lin Yuchang's home. There are no pink decorations, no dolls or puppets. More, sports equipment, camping equipment. Brother, I didn't realize you actually have 2 wives, and one was just married today, and the other is actually your teacher. Har har, the 2 of them were in the corner, and Lin Yushan smiled playfully. Tang Mengxing looked at her with disdain and said, "What's wrong with that? In the future, we will fall in love with each other. Is it wrong for me to respond to the call of the country?" Lin Yuchang nodded, but still couldn't help laughing. That's right, that's right. Har har. Be careful, maybe I can get you too after a while, Tang Mengxing said suddenly. Lin Yuchang's expression tightened, and she shut up immediately, looking like she was avoiding something, without the smile she had just had. "I'm going to cook." He just replied coldly and left. Tang Mengxing didn't know if he had said something wrong. He wanted to apologize but didn't know what he had done wrong. An hour later, they finally finished cooking. A table full of dishes. "Come on, cheers." Lin Yushan raised the red wine glass and said to everyone, "Drink this cup. Sister Lin, we may not live here anymore after a while. You want to move away? Where to?" They had just met, so Lin Yuchang didn't feel reluctant to leave. She just asked curiously. "I have a villa not far away. You can come over and visit us when you are free." Villa? Lin Yushang and Mu Yunxi both looked slightly surprised. Especially Mu Yunxi, now that the relationship is confirmed, Tang Mengxing is already hers. Unexpectedly, surprises came one after another. But she asked foolishly, "You live well here, why do you want to move out?" Tang Mengxing looked at her for a few seconds, and she realized that there were too many people and there was no room for them. Dinner lasted a long time. "Yunxi, it's too late, don't leave." Tang Mengxing put his arm around Mu Yunxi's waist, still wearing the same belly-bearing outfit, and felt the tight and elastic touch on her body with his hands. But there is only one bed. The bed is huge. Next day. "Mengxing, Yunxi, wake up. Hurry up or you'll be late." Sumoli's daily routine has always been stable. Mu Yunxi also quickly got up after hearing this. Even after the two girls had dressed and washed up, Tang Mengxing was still sleeping soundly. "Why aren't you getting up yet?" Sumoli pushed him. Tang Mengxing then said dazedly, "You two are fine, but I didn't sleep well. Your first class today is mine. If you're late, you'll have to wait." Sumoli said unhappily. Tang Mengxing closed her eyes and replied, "Oh, Zhang Ming will help me point it out." Mu Yunxi laughed out loud. The two girls left the garage, and Mu Yunxi finally witnessed Tang Mengxing's arrogance. The Bugatti from that day and the Pagani seen earlier are both here. Sumoli got into a Panamera directly. "Yunxi, get in the car." A white Panamera just stopped in the school parking lot. Sumoli and Mu Yunxi got out of the car and rushed to the teaching building. "Good morning, Director." Sumoli greeted the dean when she saw him. The dean also saw the two of them getting out of a car. Teacher Su, are you changing cars again?" "Yes." Sumoli was quite calm about it, because it felt really good to be rich. The dean asked again, "Did your husband buy it for you?" Sumoli replied, "Yes." Mu Yunxi on the side couldn't help laughing. "What are you laughing at? Go to class." The dean glanced at Mu Yunxi. His mind was confused again. Why is Mu Yunxi with Sumoli again, and they came together in the morning? Mu Yunxi ran away dejectedly, while Sumoli followed the dean to the office. "Teacher Su, as teachers, we should pay attention to our words and deeds and set an example for our students. I know that you young people are more open and tolerant, but you have to remember your identity in school." Sumoli could tell there was something else behind the dean's words, but she didn't know what she had done wrong. I can only agree with him. After arriving at the teaching building, Sumoli went to the office to prepare for the first class. The dean of studies shook his head repeatedly. I don't know if she understood it. At this time, Tang Mengxing was still sleeping soundly and had completely forgotten about the class. In the auditorium, Sumoli's first class was with Tang Mengxing's class. Zhang Ming called Tang Mengxing several times, but no one answered. Roll call. Sumoli knew that he didn't come and stared at Zhang Ming. "Axing, what are you doing? The teacher called your name." Zhang Ming sent a voice message. Sumoli taught several classes, but she couldn't recognize all the students, and couldn't even remember. "I asked you to answer it. Turn on speakerphone." Chapter 17 The School Beauty's Boyfriend. Zhang Ming hesitated for a moment, but still picked up the phone and turned on the speakerphone. "Hello. Hey. Lao Zhang. Did that little girl ask me?" As soon as the three words, little girl, were uttered, The whole class knew who she was talking about. Sumoli was asking for trouble by insisting that Zhang Ming answer the phone. Tang Mengxing, I dare not ask. Sumoli's voice came, and Tang Mengxing on the other side knew that class must have started at this time. And Zhang Ming was caught. Without thinking, Tang Mengxing hung up the phone. What if we can leave? I encouraged myself, but soon became discouraged again. The first class ended quickly and Tang Mengxing arrived late. There are fewer classes in the third year than in the first and second years, but it is a prestigious university after all, and the students are just as hardworking. Even people like Zhang Ming, although they love to play, are not bad students. Sumoli was on her way back to the office when she was blocked by Tang Mengxing. Get out of the way. Sumoli was a little angry. I'm so tired, I can't get up. Tang Mengxing blocked the aisle and prevented her from passing. Sumoli didn't know why she was so angry. If Tang Mengxing was just her student, she might not care about him at all. Whether he wants to study or not is none of my business. But he is her husband, and he even skips her classes and doesn't support her work at all. Sumoli felt wronged. I'll be your licker, okay. Tang Mengxing stuck out his tongue and really imitated a dog. Har har, Sumoli still laughed. Don't do it again. I tolerate you skipping other people's classes. They are all professors. I haven't been promoted yet. How can I become a full-time employee if you do this? Tang Mengxing apologized repeatedly, I was wrong. You are still a dog licker. Others lick dogs until they have nothing, but you have licked everything into their house. After acting coquettishly, Sumoli felt a little better. At the same time, Mu Yunxi was also distracted in class. School beauties are never self-proclaimed. Many people feel proud of being the school belle, and some boys also feel proud of having a school belle girlfriend. In short, everyone yearns for beautiful things. Mu Yunxi, the so-called school beauty, lives differently from ordinary people. In the morning, 7 or 8 classmates had already come to ask her out on behalf of others. WeChat also received some inexplicable friend additions every day. Yunxi, I have a friend from Yangjing Sports University who wants to meet you. I've recommended your WeChat to him. Please approve it as a friend. Yunxi, my childhood friend, started a business after graduating from high school. He earns over $1 million a year, I want to get to know him. Your ideas are useless. I know a rich second-generation anchor. He earns tens of millions a year. Yunxi. He wants to talk to you. Mu Yunxi was annoyed by what she heard, and finally stood up this time, I have a boyfriend. Their whole class was silent. A few seconds later. Yunxi, what does your boyfriend do? Is he as good as my buddy? This rich second-generation guy I know is awesome. You should consider it. When Mu Yunxi first entered school, many boys in the class pursued her. Until a few rich boys came and drove BMW X3 or Audi, cars worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. In public, he asked Mu Yunxi for a relationship. At this time, many people realized that to pursue the campus beauty, it is not enough to just rely on good character and good looks. Mu Yunxi is even more arrogant. There are only 3 criteria that I set for myself in choosing a partner, and they are very simple. Very handsome, good character, super rich. A very unpretentious request. It is best to do it in your own school so that you can have a high level of education. Especially the last point, super rich. She didn't know how to define it, and later she met the boyfriends of several other school beauties. They are all sports cars worth millions, but there is only one. Until Tang Mengxing appeared, there were luxury cars worth tens of millions, and more than one. Although million-dollar luxury cars are also very good, after seeing or hearing so many of them, they don't feel anything special. In cities like Yangjing or Shanghai, it wouldn't attract much attention. But the tens of millions are completely different. Even yesterday, when I found out that his Bugatti was worth more than 50 million, I was shocked beyond words. I spent more than 50 million to buy a car. Who is your boyfriend? Is he some rich boy? The love affair of Mu Yunxi, the campus beauty, will definitely attract attention. Many people came up to inquire. Yunxi, we are good friends, tell me what you have said. Mu Yunxi didn't think it was a big deal. If she told everyone about it, she wouldn't be bothered by anyone in the future. His name is Tang Mengxing. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the class is over. Tang Mengxing, Zhang Ming, Zhu Qi and others were playing basketball on the playground. Lao Zhang, Juqi wants to tell you something. What is it? Dude, I'm actually a rich second generation. Zhang Ming nodded. What a coincidence, I am a first generation rich man, call me dad. Do you know how to write the word death? A few people were playing around. Mengxing, Mu Yunxi walked over carrying the bag that Tang Mengxing had just bought for her. The girl trotted 2 steps and threw herself directly into Tang Mengxing's arms. Zhang Ming just stood there in a daze. It was done in one day. This is too fast. Mu Yunxi came with her 2 roommates, who were determined to see what kind of person Tang Mengxing was. Roommate Chen Qianqian felt jealous after seeing Tang Mengxing. He is definitely rich, after all, he is Mu Yunxi's boyfriend. There is nothing wrong with the school beauty being paired with the rich man. The key is that Chen Qianqian and another roommate came here to see what he looked like. It's impossible to have all 3 of the following: tall, rich and handsome. And now, Tang Mengxing has indeed got them all. If he were uglier, shorter, and fatter, Chen Qianqian would feel better. Tang Mengxing's sweat soaked the clothes on his chest, sticking tightly to his chest muscles. Mu Yunxi couldn't help but touch it. Don't be a hooligan, we'll go back later, Tang Mengxing patted her on the back. There were a lot of people in the stadium, and soon many people noticed this place. Everyone knew Mu Yunxi. She is not only the leader among the 4 school beauties, but also has the title of the #1 school beauties of all time. However, some seniors who have already graduated do not agree with this view, because there was a sumoli in their class. Zhang Ming and others on the side were watching in a trance, wondering how Tang Mengxing managed to get this school beauty. Let's continue. Tang Mengxing picked up the basketball and said to the other boys, I don't want to play anymore. I want to go back to the dormitory. I don't want to play anymore, give me the ball. I'm really impressed. I'm eating some dog food. And she's the school beauty. Only Zhang Ming, after everyone else left, grabbed Tang Mengxing and said, Brother Xing. Teach me. Please. In Sumoli's white Panamera, Tang Mengxing hugged Mu Yunxi. Sumoli hadn't finished her work yet, so the 2 of them got into the car first. Don't move. There are a lot of cars at this time. It's not good for others to see you. In the back seat, Tang Mengxing hugged Mu Yunxi with one hand and looked at his phone with the other. The old father really kept his promise. A full 10 million was called. Chapter 18: Mu Yunxi's parents. Kiss. Mu Yunxi suddenly acted coquettishly. Tang Mengxing lowered her head and gave him a kiss. The dean of studies outside the window hurried past and glanced at Sumoli's car. I was shocked again by the scene before me. Tang Mengxing and Mu Yunxi are in Sumoli's car. No. What happened to this world? At night, in Tang Mengxing's apartment. It was obviously a bit crowded for 3 people to sleep on a big bed. What Tang Mengxing didn't expect was that Mu Yunxi was not only good at studying, but also cool. It was so complicated that Sumoli looked at him as if he were a poor student. For dinner, Tang Mengxing took the 2 girls to have another big meal, but after eating, they both wanted to go back. Tang Mengxing's suggestion to go shopping was also rejected. I still need to study on my own. There are still many things I don't understand. Look at Yunxi's enlightenment. In the room, Tang Mengxing turned on the computer and looked at some information. An hour later, I couldn't help but play the game. Even though there were 3 people in the room, there was no other sound except the sound of Tang Mengxing typing on the keyboard. It's as quiet as a library. TSK. How did he die? Tang Mengxing just sighed. The 2 girls gave him stern looks. Keep your voice down. Tang Mengxing quickly shut up, looked at the character in the game, and waited to be resurrected. It's near the end of the month and a new week has begun, and there is not much time left until the end of the 7-day match. Tang Mengxing wanted to get the certificate with Mu Yunxi as soon as possible. In this way, you can apply to stop matching. By the time Mu Yunxi finished her self-study, it was already 9 o'clock. Yunxi. I want to tell you something. That is. Ding ding. Mu Yunxi's phone rang. Wait a moment. Tang Mengxing had no choice but to wait for her to answer the phone. The call was from her mother. Mom. A clear voice rang out from the other end of the phone. Yunxi, can I give you 1,700 yuan for living expenses this month? Your father and I are little short of money recently. Oh, wait a minute, Mom, I'll go out and you can talk later. Mu Yunxi quickly stood up. She didn't want Tang Mengxing to hear this. Although I knew he was not short of money, he still spent more than 60,000 yuan to buy himself a bag. I can no longer open my mouth. But Tang Mengxing stared at her with wide eyes, and he could hear their voice on the phone clearly. Watching Mu Yunxi walk out the door, Tang Mengxing waited for a few seconds and then sneaked out as well. Mom, what's wrong? Mu Yunxi knew her family well. She usually had a living expense of more than 3,000 yuan a month, which her family could definitely afford. How come they suddenly gave me 1,000 less? It's okay, I'm just a little short of money, it will be fine next month. Her mother comforted her, but Mu Yunxi was still worried. Mom, what happened? Mu Yunxi was so anxious that she wanted to cry. I've told you it's nothing. Just study hard and don't worry about things at home, the mother said impatiently. I don't, tell me what happened. Mu Yunxi knew that something must have happened at home. Okay, I'll give you 3,000 this month. You're such an ignorant kid. Mother thought Mu Yunxi was sad because of the issue of living expenses. Mu Yunxi said, Mom, 1,000 is enough for me. Tell me, what happened at home? There was silence on the other end of the phone for a moment, and then Mu Yunxi's mother said, Your father's company went bankrupt, and he hasn't received salary for several months. Hey! Now he can't be found at all. I bought a house for you in the county town, and I've been paying off the loan. I borrowed money from relatives when I bought the house. I already owe them money, so it's not easy to ask for more. Hey! Your father is old, and no one wants him after going to a few places. I'm thinking of finding a security guard job in a few days. I make over 4,000 yuan a month now. After paying off the loan, I still have over 1,000 yuan left. Just wait until your dad finds a job next month. Just be obedient, your parents are not deliberately making things difficult for you. Before her mother finished speaking, she heard Tang Mengxing suddenly shout, Mom! Don't worry about this. Just leave Yunxi to me. Tang Mengxing's sudden appearance scared Mu Yunxi. Why are you here? Mu Yunxi quickly covered the phone. I didn't want to ask about your family affairs, but I heard everything just now. Your living expenses for next month are 1,700. How can you play with me with such little money? Tang Mengxing said jokingly. At this time, Mu Yunxi's phone rang again, and the previous call had been hung up. This time it was a video call from my mother. Your mother wants to see me. Tang Mengxing straightened his collar and smoothed his hair. Answer it. The video call was received, and there were two people in the screen. In addition to Mu Yunxi's mother, there was also a skinny middle-aged man. Mu Yunxi's mother is LV Lanfang and her father is Mu Heibo. Mother Lu Lanfang looks a little plump, while father Mu Heibo looks honest and simple, and he looks like a hard worker. Hello, auntie, hello, uncle. Tang Mengxing snatched the phone from Mu Yunxi's hand, and this time he called out more formally. Then the three of them chatted, leaving Mu Yunxi aside. After an unknown amount of time, Sumoli felt a little sleepy and called out to Mu Yunxi, Yunxi, are you going to sleep? I'm going to make the bed. Mu Yunxi said, I'll help you. Let Tang Mengxing sleep on the floor tonight. I'm so mad. What's wrong? Sumoli had just finished her work and had no idea what had happened. Mu Yunxi pointed outside the door. My parents called and he answered the phone. They talked for an hour. At this point, Tang Mengxing's laughter suddenly came from outside the door. Okay, Mom and Dad, it's getting late, go to bed early. You don't have to give Yunxi living expenses. I'll take care of it. Tang Mengxing. Keep your voice down. Lin Yushang's voice also came from the apartment next door. I'm sorry, sister. I'll be more careful next time. After entering the house, Tang Mengxing sat on the sofa carelessly and pointed at his face. Yunxi, come here and give me a kiss. You're so shameless. Sumoli rolled her eyes at him. Tang Mengxing returned the phone to Mu Yunxi, and then said, I just transferred 200,000 to your parents, tell them not to worry, and I'll cover your living expenses. I gave Moli 100,000 before, and I'll transfer 100,000 to you too. I owe you a favor. Mu Yunxi was not as surprised or happy as imagined. Instead, she sat on the sofa dejectedly. The other party gave the money directly and returned it to her parents, which made her feel indescribable. A little sadness welled up in my heart. Why? You are so rich. Hundreds of thousands of dollars are nothing to you, but my parents still have to work very hard. They saved their whole lives to pay the down payment for me. Mu Yinxi couldn't hold back and burst into tears. Tang Mengxing felt a little distressed, and hurriedly hugged her and stroked her back. There are some things you can't choose. This is not the difference between people, but the difference in fate. Sumoli also gently touched her head. Yunxi, don't be sad. It's all in the past. When you graduate and find a good job, they will be able to enjoy a peaceful life. Hey! I don't agree with what you said. With a good son-in-law like me, they can enjoy a peaceful life now. Tang Mengxing's words made Mu Yunxi burst into laughter. Chapter 19 Roommates. The next morning, Tang Mengxing and Sumoli asked for leave. Time is running out, you must get the certificate as soon as possible. Although I have only known Mu Yunxi for a short time, some people are in love at first sight. Even if it's not, it's better than random. Tang Mengxing doesn't he think he will have the same luck as last time and be able to match with Sumoli? Marriage registration in Longwa can be completed online. It doesn't he even take a few minutes. The reason they took leave was not to get married. It's to cancel the match. Easy to match, hard to cancel. Last night, while lying between Sumoli and Mu Yunxi, Tang Mengxing made everything clear. He will have to bind it by force in a few days. So I want to get the certificate with Mu Yunxi first. Tang Mengxing knew that the pace was a bit fast, but there was nothing he could do. Mu Yunxi also agreed that she really owed the other party a favor. If it was just to buy a bag, then Tang Mengxing wanted to seduce me. You can return the bag if you don't want to. What happened yesterday was to save someone from danger, that's human nature. But this favor was a bit too big, and Mu Yunxi had no intention of repaying it. Instead, she would directly become the other party's wife and write off the favor. Marriage Matching Bureau. There are people coming and going here every day. Tang Mengxing and Mu Yunxi waited for a whole morning before it was their turn. After handing over his ID card and a copy of his marriage certificate, Tang Mengxing was finally cleared from this round of matching. After going out, Mu Yunxi sat in Tang Mengxing's Rolls-Royce Cullinan, fiddling with a small red notebook. I'm in a very happy mood. Tang Mengxing finally felt relieved. But they both received a notice at the same time that they would attend an event party in a few days. Anyone who matches within this month needs to participate. Sumoli also received the notification. The time is set in 3 days. Tang Mengxing didn't want to participate because he got along very well with Sumoli and Mu Yunxi. There's no need to go to great lengths, but this is the rule and I have to go. On their way back, Mu Yunxi was chatting with her mother. She didn't know what was going on. Tang Mengxing spent an hour dealing with her parents yesterday. Mother Lu Lanfang kept praising Tang Mengxing. Mu Yunxi turned her head and looked at Tang Mengxing who was driving. Her mother praised him to the sky. Mom, I get it, you and my dad shouldn't get too tired. After hanging up the phone, Mu Yunxi looked down at her feet and suddenly said, Thank you, Mengxing. Tang Mengxing felt a little embarrassed by her solemn thanks. It's okay, why do couples talk about this? Having said that, Mu Yunxi was still a little shy when she heard the word husband and wife, but she was happy in her heart. I have to go to class this afternoon, please take me to school. Mu Yunxi is worthy of being the king of papers. She still wants to go to school at this time. But Tang Mengxing didn't want to do that. He wanted to go out and play in the afternoon, so he took a day off. Moreover, the two of them came out together. If only Mu Yunxi went back, and Sumoli knew about it, wouldn't that expose the floor? I want to take you somewhere else to play. It's time to change your phone. I'll buy you the latest 16 Pro Max. And pick out some clothes. Don't go back to school yet. Tang Mengxing himself was not sure whether he could persuade Mu Yunxi. Okay. Mu Yunxi replied crisply. Tang Mengxing suddenly found it funny. It turned out that money has power. Mu Yunxi had wanted to change her mobile phone for a long time. She was still using an iPhone 13. She worked for 2 months during the summer vacation, and her parents gave her some extra money to buy it. It works, but who doesn't like new things? Tang Mengxing parked the car on the side of the commercial street, and the two got out of the car. Mu Yunxi's appearance attracted the attention of a group of people. Tang Mengxing also experienced the vanity brought by a beautiful wife. Please take a look at our latest mobile phone. The salesperson entertained us warmly. What color do you like? Bring one for Modi later. After his father transferred a huge amount of money, Tang Mengxing changed his mobile phone as soon as possible. Mu Yunxi took a closer look and said, Mengxing, the color doesn't matter, just buy a black one, but. Just what? Tang Mengxing could see that she still had needs. It's just that I've been using my computer for a long time, and I want to buy a new one. Mu Yunxi's voice became smaller and smaller. I really can't resist this temptation. Just move your mouth a little and Tang Mengxing will grant your request. It feels so good. But I am afraid of asking for too much and making the other person unhappy. Then buy both the computer and the iPad. Miss, please buy 2 sets. Tang Mengxing waved his hand and directly sent 2 sets of top-of-the-line equipment. Okay, wait a moment, you two take a seat first. The sales lady smiled and poured tea for the two. These customers are so good that they have already made their choice before I have the chance to introduce them. At this time, the sales girl looked at Tang Mengxing, with a hint of imperceptible affection in her eyes. Who doesn't he love a rich and handsome guy? But she doesn't he dare to be too presumptuous when his girlfriend is around. Tang Mengxing took a sip of tea and casually looked around the store. A figure caught his attention. Yunxi, look at that person, she looks familiar, that girl. Chen. Why didn't she go to class? Mu Yunxi of course knew her roommate Chen. At this time, Chen and a boy were chatting in a corner of the store. Will you buy it? My phone is so worn out from use that I'll consider becoming your girlfriend if you buy it. I didn't say I wouldn't buy it, but just tell me straight, what are you still considering? If you don't buy it, then there's no chance at all. Think about it carefully. My roommate Mu Yunxi's boyfriend is said to have 50,000 yuan in pocket money a month. Chen kept chatting with the boy. Chen knew very little about Tang Mengxing, and 50,000 yuan a month for living expenses was the most money she could make up. After all, who can believe that a college student has hundreds of millions in cash and 10 million in pocket money every week? Even for those rich second generations who drive luxury cars, the living expenses for any student at school are only tens of thousands of yuan. It's not that the family has no money, but no parent would give their child too much money when he or she is a student. Not enough to ruin the family. However, apart from Tang Mengxing, he himself didn't know how much money his family had. Maybe his parents gave him hundreds of millions of dollars, just like the tens of thousands of dollars an ordinary rich second generation gets every month. Chen, why didn't you go to school? Did you ask for leave? Mu Yunxi walked over and patted Chen shoulder gently. Yunxi. Chen was surprised at first, then extremely happy, and hugged Mu Yunxi tightly. The boy next to her widened his eyes the moment he saw Mu Yunxi. Like a woman walking out of a painting. The boy's heart was pierced. Such a beauty is really rare. Chapter 20, A Beating from Society. Chen, why didn't you go to class? Chen avoided his gaze, pulled Mu Yunxi aside and whispered, the man next to me is pursuing me, and he said he would take me to buy a mobile phone today, so I asked for leave. Which department is he from? He's not a student, spare tire number 3. The boy saw them whispering to each other, so he walked over and said, hello, my name is Li Hao. His eyes were fixed on Mu Yunxi's face, with no sign of moving away. Anyone can see that they are in love with each other. Just a glance. Not only Mu Yunxi noticed it, but Chen also noticed it. Mu Yunxi has seen this kind of situation many times. Any normal boy would look at her a few more times. Chen is also quite pretty, but in comparison, she looks ordinary. Tang Mengxing, who was not far away, just walked over with a smile. We meet again. Chen knew Tang Mengxing and knew that he was Mu Yunxi's boyfriend, so he must be a rich man. Li Hao was slightly surprised to see Tang Mengxing. Handsome guy. This is Yunxi's boyfriend, said Chen, and she was saying this to Li Hao, telling him not to have any bad ideas anymore. Li Hao disagreed in his heart, brother, where is the high position? After saying that, he stretched out his hand and Tang Mengxing shook hands with him. I'm a classmate of Yunxi and Chen, but not in the same department. Student? Li Hao was even more disdainful. He was just a student, and had never seen the colorful world outside. No matter how pure the feelings on a university campus are, once you leave school and enter society you will always be hit by reality. Countless handsome men and beautiful women were in love with each other in college and planned for a bright future. However, after entering the society, facing the harsh reality for a few pieces of silver, how many birds of the same forest flew away separately? Oh! Students, your school is pretty good. Li Hao also knew that their school was more than just good, and all the students who came out of it were elites. Of course, everyone has their own destiny, and only a handful of them could really become real big shots. Li Hao's family is well off. His father runs a small business and makes 2 million a year. But his house was demolished not long ago and he received 20 million in compensation. The family is not short of money, but they are strict. After all, this kid has no job and just eats and drinks for free all day. After much persuasion, he got an Audi A7 from his father, and asked his mother for more than 30,000 yuan per month for living expenses. His life was very comfortable. Although he has seen countless girls, he still prefers college girls, especially those with high education like Chen Qianqian. It makes people want to conquer. Chen Qianqian is not simple either. She is pursued by 4 or 5 boys, but she is different from Mu Yinxi. Mu Yinxi refused directly and straightforwardly without reservation. But Chen Qianqian is very good at keeping people in suspense, being ambiguous on one hand and rejecting on the other. These boys confessed their love, but Chen Qianqian ignored them. But when she was about to give up, Chen Qianqian started to show concern for them. From time to time, say some suggestive words to arouse the other person's desire. Are you buying a mobile phone too? Li Hao said nothing. Tang Mengxing had nothing to talk about with him. At this time, Mu Yinxi said, Qian, let me correct you, Tang Mengxing is not my boyfriend. Chen Qianqian was confused when she heard this. How did they break up? They were still boyfriend and girlfriend a few days ago. Li Hao was delighted in his heart, because this guy was just like him, wanting something but unable to get it. However, there is still hope for me to win over Chen Qianqian. At least she has agreed. If I buy this phone, we may officially become a couple. We got the certificate today. Hee. We're husband and wife now. Qian, don't say anything when you go out, the next sentence confused everyone. Chen Qianqian was completely dumbfounded. She couldn't understand why Mu Yinxi, who had looked down on every boy for so many years, suddenly started dating Tang Mengxing, and even got married in just 2 or 3 days. Li Hao felt a sour taste in his mouth. He had tried to pursue Chen Qianqian but failed. How could Tang Mengxing, who was in front of him, get a goddess like Mu Yinxi? He is just a student, how much money can he have? Li Hao doesn't believe that love is pure. Without material foundation, how can you be worthy of such a beautiful girl? Har, you'll cry when you enter society. Li Hao sneered inwardly. Tang Mengxing was also a little confused. Why did Mu Yinxi tell the truth? I wanted to keep a low profile, but this happened. Combined with the fact that I forcefully kissed Sumoli a few days ago, I'm going to be in trouble at school again. Marrying the school beauty Mu Yinxi, isn't that a big deal? Besides, Chen Qianqian is definitely not a tight-lipped person. But Mu Yinxi didn't care at all. She was just happy, extremely happy. She wanted to show off. In my early 20s, I have already taken care of the most important things in my life. All I have to do is have a baby and enjoy life. This life is complete. Awesome. Congratulations, Chen Qianqian said this, but she became more curious about Tang Mengxing in her heart. Could it be that Mu Yinxi was really not moved by money? She always thought that Mu Yinxi was a little silly. During her 3 years in college, since she entered school, countless people pursued Mu Yinxi. As her best friend, she naturally saw it all and even reaped a lot of benefits. Many people asked her to say something good to Mu Yinxi or convey some information. They would treat her to a meal or give her a red envelope of 100 or 80 yuan. However, none of them succeeded. These suitors have different conditions. Some come from ordinary families, some are talented, some are so ugly that you can't stand the sight of them, some are so handsome that you can't help but be stunned, and some are rich young men. Without exception, no one could catch Mu Yinxi's eye. This Tang Mengxing doesn't look anything special, and he's the only handsome one. You guys play, Mengxing and I will leave after we get our phones. Mu Yinxi hugged Tang Mengxing's arm and pressed her head against his shoulder, looking very clingy. You bought it. Li Hao believed that they couldn't afford a mobile phone, even if they asked their families for some money as students, or worked part-time, or saved some living expenses for a long time. They can all be sold. Yes. I bought it, Tang Mengxing replied politely. He didn't mind at all what other men thought of Mu Yinxi or Sumoli, as long as they didn't show it or take any action. Cuckolding yourself? No way. Because he also knew that these 2 girls were so beautiful, and as a man himself, he naturally knew what boys were thinking. You can control everything in the world, but you can't control other people's shit or farts. You can't dig out other people's hearts and take a look at what they are thinking. This is normal. Who wouldn't be moved when seeing a beautiful girl? Let others envy you. Which model did you buy? Li Hao insisted on asking, wanting to give them a little social beating. I'm just a student. The limit I can spend is 10,000 yuan to buy a mobile phone. I make 30,000 yuan a month and have a credit card with a limit of 50,000 yuan. I have to let them see what a rich person is today and let Mu Yunxi truly understand this society. Other people's monthly living expenses can buy 3 mobile phones worth tens of thousands of yuan. And you can only ask your family for money, and even your family may not give you that much money, just to let you buy a mobile phone. Or maybe you might have to save up for a year or two to buy one worth 6 or 7,000 yuan. Tang Mengxing was not interested in showing off with Li Hao. I just want to go back quickly, lie in bed, and have a good sleep. You've been waiting for a long time. Now I've brought your items to you. If you have any questions, just check out and pay. The salesperson came over with a bunch of things. 2 computers, 2 cell phones, and 2 iPads. The total price is more than 80,000 yuan. Mu Yunxi also felt more justified in her heart. There was no need to be embarrassed about something her husband bought for her. You bought so many. Li Hao was a little shocked. He thought Tang Mengxing was just an ordinary student. I don't have much money in my pocket. I also wanted to let him experience the harshness of society, and I suddenly felt ashamed and inferior. My family is not good either. I'll have to ask my father to buy me $1 million luxury car, preferably a sports car. I actually think there's no need to buy something so expensive. As long as the phone works, it's fine. Android phones are also good. Some of the phones that cost 2 or 3,000 yuan can also work and are very easy to use. Li Hao said this, but he was extremely jealous in his heart. Tang Mengxing also replied, yes, I think so. I have 2 films myself, one of which is a domestic production, and it is indeed good. He was praising from the bottom of his heart, and he took out his mobile phone to show them. They say that phones will get stuck after a long time of use, but that's not true. Today's systems are well optimized. I used my previous phone for 4 or 5 years and it worked just fine. That being said, what Tang Mengxing took out was a tri-fold screen that was far ahead of the others. Chen Qianqian's eyes widened when she saw it. This phone costs more than 20,000 yuan. Now she no longer envies Mu Yunxi for having a new cell phone and a new computer, but she envies her for having a wealthy husband. Li Hao, who was by her side, was originally her best backup. After all, he had some money. This way it won't smell good at all. Li Hao also felt a sense of comparison. It was not that he could not afford it. It was just a small amount for his family to buy a mobile phone. The problem was that it was his parents' money. He didn't have much money himself. Wow. Mengxing, you are so nice to Yunxi. The speaker may not have meant it, but the listener may have taken it seriously. In Mu Yunxi's ears, it was just the other party's envy. Tang Mengxing felt that he had not considered the other person's feelings, so he quickly replied, it's just a show. In fact, a mobile phone worth 2 or 3,000 is enough. After saying this, I felt a little Versailles. But Li Hao felt that Chen Qianqian was only speaking to him. Brother Tang, it's only natural to buy it for your wife. Li Hao no longer had any other thoughts about Mu Yunxi, at least not for the time being. Not as handsome as Tang Mengxing, not as rich as him, and not as tall as him. I say this for Chen Qianqian to hear. I will buy it for you if you become my girlfriend. After Tang Mengxing paid the bill, Mu Yunxi couldn't wait to open the package and change her mobile phone card. When I saw Mu Yunxi's old mobile phone, the screen was a little broken. Li Hao felt sad. She and Chen Qianqian were roommates, so why didn't he meet Mu Yunxi earlier? Judging from Mu Yunxi's conditions, she must be average. If I had met her before, I might have been able to get her with just a mobile phone. When the new phone was turned on, Mu Yunxi was extremely happy, but her expression did not show it. It was as if she and Tang Mengxing had known each other for a long time. Everything was going on naturally. They had always been a loving couple, and they were used to it. Nothing, we're leaving first. Tang Mengxing hugged Mu Yunxi and they left the store. Qianqian, do you still want a cell phone? Li Hao waited for the two of them to leave and asked again. Chen Qianqian felt complicated. I don't want it anymore. I want Tang Mengxing. Of course, this is what I think in my heart, I didn't say it out loud. Yunxi. Are you happy? Tang Mengxing suddenly asked in the car. Mu Yunxi said, very happy. But his eyes were fixed on the new phone. That guy must be Chen Qianqian's backup. Mu Yunxi then withdrew her gaze and looked at Tang Mengxing. Well, Qianqian has quite a few liquors. Suddenly thinking of something, Mu Yunxi hurriedly explained, Mengxing. Don't misunderstand me, I don't treat you as a bootlicker, and I don't really need this phone. Tang Mengxing rolled her eyes at him and said, what are you talking about? Even if I am a dog licker, I have licked your fat meat into my mouth. It's worth it. Licking your wife doesn't count as dog licking. Har har. Mu Yunxi's laughter echoed in the car. You are aware, young man. Tang Mengxing said, oh, by the way, let me ask you something. They say that among the 4 school beauties, besides you, there is Zhu Yuning and that, Wu Ying. Who is the other one? Mu Yunxi stared at him blankly and asked, you really don't know? We've been in school for so many years and we 4 don't even know each other. Tang Mengxing smiled slightly and said nothing. He really didn't know her. His family was not well off and he had focused a lot on studying. He knows that he likes beautiful women, isn't it true? But he also knew that he couldn't pursue her with his conditions, so he didn't even think about it. However, his father and mother suddenly told him that he was a rich second generation, which changed his mind. What's the point of having money if you don't spend it? The other one, maybe you really haven't seen her for long? There are a lot of rumors, but I know her, we are friends, her name is Jiyu Qingcheng. Mu Yunxi said, but she was recalling something in her head. Tang Mengxing joked, it's a good name, but it should be called Qinghua. Qingcheng is a bit stingy. Mu Yunxi couldn't help laughing, Jiyu Qinghua? It sounds like a boy's name. However, she is different from us. She seldom comes to school. People say that I am the top of their 4 school beauties. Maybe many people have never seen Jiyu Qingcheng. I don't think she is worse than me, and ordinary people really can't catch up with her. It's just low-key and scary. This confused Tang Mengxing. I heard that the other 3 all have boyfriends. Why is she being so low-key? Mu Yunxi said, that's a misunderstanding. There was indeed a boy who drove to pick her up, but he was her family's driver or something like that. Her family has a strong background, so, hey. I don't know much about it either. I just met him a few times and added him on WeChat. I don't know much about him. Oh. After finding out all the gossip about Tang Mengxing, he didn't take it too seriously and just treated it as a small topic between the 2 of them. When I got back to the apartment, it was already past 2 in the afternoon. Mu Yunxi was organizing her computer, copying all the files from the old computer to the new one. Tang Mengxing sent a message to his father Tang Hai. Dad, I want to start an investment company. There was no reply for a long while. After a while, Tang Hai called, my great son. Tang Mengxing said disdainfully, Dad. Can you change your tone? It's true that I'm your son, but you sound like you're taking advantage of me. Tang Hai said, what's the big deal? You want to do something? Well, let me tell you first. Tang Hai originally wanted to express his support, but he took the words back when they came to his lips. Chapter 22 Background. Mengxing. Our family has a strong background, but you are not a rich second generation. After saying this, Tang Mengxing immediately sat up. Isn't he a rich second generation? So where did all this money come from? Are you going to give me back my original form? Tang Mengxing doesn't want this to happen. Actually, you are a 3rd generation rich man, and I am a 2nd generation rich man. This is the empire built by your grandfather. Tang Hai finished his words. Can you please stop breathing so heavily when you speak? It scares me. Tang Mengxing finally felt relieved, otherwise he would have really wanted to go back to school to review his lessons. Tang Hai hesitated again and said, actually, how should I put it? It's no problem to give you a little more money. When you inherit the family in the future, everything will be natural, that is. What is it? Just tell me, Dad. Tang Mengxing urged. His father was not like this before. Tang Hai said, you know Forbes, right? Forbes. Of course Tang Mengxing knew. He was also a little confused before. His family had so much money, but it had never been on any of the rich lists. It has even been on the Fortune 500. What you can see is just what some people want you to see. The rules are for ordinary people. Tang Hai's words made Tang Mengxing feel that his family background might not be what he thought, and it was more than just wealth. Tang Hai continued, "Our family is not within this scope, or rather, our background cannot be known to too many people. I know this well, kid. You are young and full of energy. I am afraid you will say too much, so I will tell you about our family's background in detail when you grow up. But you have to keep a low profile now. If you want to invest, you can. But don't be too conspicuous. There is too much money in the family to spend. If you don't want to do it anymore, I will support you. I will transfer some more to you. Remember what Dad said, don't steal the limelight, just make money behind the scenes." After hanging up the phone, Tang Mengxing became more curious about his family's background. Keep a low profile. That's hard. What is Mengxing in a daze about? Oh, nothing, I just chatted with my dad for a while. Tang Mengxing lay on the bed and began to think wildly. Ding! Your bank card. Hearing this voice, Tang Mengxing quickly covered the phone. It was a transfer from my father, a full 10 billion. Another PS, just treat it as learning about investment, and when you lose all your money, go home. Tang Mengxing quickly checked the accounts and found that it was indeed 10.7 billion. As for the change, there was still more than 13 million. Is the cost of learning investment so high? I don't actually want to start a business, but I want to make money. Invest in something you love. Mengxing, what are we going to eat tonight? Mu Yunxi blinked. She was very excited today. Not only did I get the certificate, I also bought a new phone and computer. Just you and Mo Li will agree. I'll transfer another 200,000 to you too, spend it first. The sudden generosity made Mu Yunxi a little overwhelmed. No need. I don't need so much. You don't need so much. Then why don't you put your phone away? Tang Mengxing looked at Mu Yunxi, who was refusing while opening the payment code. Mu Yunxi chuckled, I'm just being polite to you. Sumoli, who was in class at the moment, felt her cell phone vibrate. When I opened it, I saw that it was 200,000 yuan transferred by Tang Mengxing. Fuck. With a cry of fuck, their whole class suddenly fell silent. Well. I want to say that everyone should speak politely in the future and not use colloquial language. Sumoli hurriedly concealed her embarrassment and had already started planning how to spend the 200,000. What else should I buy? Hum after school, Sumoli hummed a little tune and sang as she walked towards the garage. Teacher Su, the dean called her again. Director, Sumoli was in a good mood and gave the other party a sweet smile. Even the dean, who was in his 40s, felt a pang in his heart. Teacher Su, what's going on with Tang Mengxing and Mu Yunxi? They are both your students, right? Sumoli didn't know how to answer and froze in place. They are. Mu Yunxi is my cousin. Hesitating for a long time, Sumoli broke out in a cold sweat and made up a lie. She also didn't know what the dean had learned. The dean of studies was panting, his head buzzing, take care of yourself and your two cousins. I'm going to take some medicine first. In an instant, the dean felt difficulty breathing and urgently needed a heart pill. Sumoli instantly thought that maybe Tang Mengxing and Mu Yunxi were seen together. My nonsense has caused some misunderstandings. But it was too late to explain. Looking at the dean's receding back, Sumoli felt uneasy. As soon as Sumoli returned to the apartment, Mu Yunxi ran over excitedly, Teacher Su, Mengxing bought us a new phone, computer, and tablet. Seeing the new equipment, Sumoli smiled slightly, then pulled Mu Yunxi and whispered, Yunxi, have you and Mengxing done anything at school, or met the dean of their department? Mu Yunxi shook her head repeatedly, the two of us are very secretive. Then there is one. Where is it? In your car. Fuck. This was the second time Sumoli cursed today. She didn't even need to think about it, she knew the dean must have seen it. You two should be more careful next time. Tang Mengxing didn't take it seriously. What's wrong with that? It's normal to talk about love and hug each other. But Sumoli blushed, but I told the director that you two are my cousins. Tang Mengxing and Mu Yunxi were immediately confused. Isn't this going to be the end of their balls? Sumoli didn't want to explain this matter, but just asked the three of them to be more careful in the future. The two girls were lying on the bed, each fiddling with their new cell phones and computers. Work efficiency has indeed improved, Sumoli said happily. Then he turned around and looked at Tang Mengxing, wanting to thank him. But he found that Tang Mengxing was staring at the two people lying down. He put his hand on his chin, thinking about something. Look at that malicious look. Tang Mengxing was talking to his kidneys. Brother. Can you still? Kidney, no. No, please take a break for 2 days. That's all. Tang Mengxing doesn't want to overdraw his body too early. For 3 consecutive days, several people prepared to participate in activities organized by the local government. This activity also takes 3 days and costs 1,800 yuan per person. Tang Mengxing and the other 2 also learned a little about the content of the activities, which were nothing more than organizing movie watching, camping, outdoor activities, suburban travel, etc. Mu Yunxi and Su Moli each packed a large box of luggage. Tang Mengxing simply carried a bag. The day of the event finally arrived, and we had to gather at a square in the city at 6:30 in the morning. At this time, Tang Mengxing was carrying 2 large suitcases and a bag and running frantically out of the apartment. Su Moli and Mu Yunxi followed closely behind. Su Moli kept complaining, I told you to get up early. I told you to go to bed early but you didn't. You had to toss and turn. It's midnight now, so you're late. If you're late, it's your fault. Mu Yunxi was also indignant, my legs hurt. I feel so tired. Mengxing, don't do this next time. Blame me. Blame me. Tang Mengxing finally ran to the roadside with her luggage. There was a bus for this trip, so the 3 of them didn't have to drive. After getting a taxi, Tang Mengxing panted and said, Master, Donghua Plaza. Thank you. Chapter 23 event starts. It's already past 6 o'clock. Tang Mengxing and 3 others had just gotten into the taxi. Su Moli and Mu Yunxi sat in the back row and fell asleep. Hey, bro. Are these all your wives? The taxi driver asked. Tang Mengxing calmed down and said, Yeah, these 2 spendthrift women. Har har, little brother, others are so envious of you. The taxi driver chatted with Tang Mengxing all the way. Half an hour later, we arrived at Donghua Plaza. This place is the gathering place for every activity to promote harmonious relationship between couples. 3 buses are parked here. Looks like there are a lot of people here. Tang Mengxing got out of the taxi carrying her luggage. Mu Yunxi rubbed her eyes and hugged Tang Mengxing. I'm so sleepy. I want to sleep a little longer. After saying this, the upper eyelid and the lower eyelid started fighting. The arrival of Tang Mengxing and others quickly attracted everyone's attention. Tang Mengxing, right? Hello, I'm the person in charge and tour guide of this trip. My name is Li Yanan, you can just call me Sister Li. A middle-aged woman in her 40s greeted Tang Mengxing warmly. You know me. This was the first time Tang Mengxing met this Sister Li. Li Yanan smiled slightly. Here, you are the only one with 2 girls, how can you not know them? Tang Mengxing smiled awkwardly. Indeed, it's a bit ostentatious, har har har. After Tang Mengxing looked around, he realized that although he arrived on time, he was not too late. Some people haven't arrived yet. It's just that the atmosphere at the scene was a little indescribable, it was weird anyway. They are all matched couples. After careful observation, it is found that there are roughly 3 types of people in this group. One type is like Tang Mengxing, where the relationship between husband and wife is close and relatively harmonious. There aren't many of these people. Another situation is that one of the man and woman is enthusiastic and flattering, while the other is cold and disdainful. This situation is not common. Most of the time, it is boys trying to please girls. After all, although they are husband and wife, they have only been together for a short time and are not very familiar with each other. Or maybe the girl is not satisfied with the boy, but there is nothing she can do about it. The last type is that the man and woman ignore each other and are like strangers. The better thing to do is to be polite to each other. If it's not good, don't say a word. This type of people is the largest, and this may be the significance of holding this event. Of course, there is also a special situation at the scene, that is, all the boys will look at other people's girls. Girls also pay attention to the boys around other girls. Maybe I'm making a psychological comparison. I am afraid of this kind of thing. Since they are strangers to each other, many people will become even more dissatisfied with their partners when comparing themselves with others. Hello, you are also participating in the event, right? My name is Chen Bumo. A thin man walked up and greeted Tang Mengxing. Tang Mengxing put down her luggage and politely replied, "Hello, my name is Tang Mengxing." The Chen Bumo in front of him looked gentle and fragile, wearing glasses and having a warm smile. "Brother Tang, these two are your wives, you are so lucky," Chen Bumo said directly. Tang Mengxing also felt a favorable impression of him. He could see that the other person was just praising him. Only those with ulterior motives would not say it out loud. "You're welcome. It's just luck. Since you're older than me, I'll call you Brother Chen." The two soon started chatting. Chen Bumo is already working. He is 26 years old, 5 years older than Tang Mengxing. "Brother Chen, where is my sister-in-law?" Tang Mengxing asked. Chen Bumo replied, "I went to the toilet." "Oh, I feel like you are well educated and well mannered. You must have a good relationship with your sister-in-law." Chen Bumo nodded slightly, but felt that there were some words he couldn't say. "Then you are very happy too," Tang Mengxing said politely. Chen Bumo suddenly looked miserable. "I hope so." Tang Mengxing didn't understand what it meant, but she heard a loud shout, "Husband!" Not far away, a woman walked out of the public toilet. Tang Mengxing swallowed, her voice trembling. This is. Chen Bumo said, "My wife." After saying this, he lowered his head in shame. The girl is not ugly, but she is not particularly beautiful either. But he is taller than Tang Mengxing, with a sturdy and strong build, and seems to have a lot of strength. If it was a boy, Tang Mengxing would definitely shout, "Hello, brother." The girl walked over. Tang Mengxing looked up at her. She was a few centimeters taller than him, so she must be about 190 centimeters tall. The shoulders were broader than mine, and an invisible sense of oppression came over me. Looking at Chen Bumo again, this kid has his head hung down and is only about 1.7 meters tall. Tang Mengxing whispered, "Chen, brother Chen, sister-in-law, really? Hello. My name is Wang Meng." Chen Bumo's wife. Wang Meng also casually stretched out her hand and shook hands with Tang Mengxing and others. Tang Mengxing finally finished what she had just said. "Sister-in-law is really exciting. My name is Tang Mengxing. We are destined to be together because we both have the word dream in our names." Tang Mengxing started the conversation enthusiastically. Wang Meng introduced herself, saying that she was a former athlete who had experience in shot put, javelin, etc. Now he is retired and opened a sporting goods store. Speaking of which, the relationship between the two is indeed pretty good. Chen Bumo has an honest personality, but he also cares about Wang Meng very much. It's just that he can't appreciate the tenderness of a girl, which is a bit of a pity. So this time, Wang Meng promised Chen Bumo that she would learn to be a little woman and snuggle up to Chen Bumo. Sumoli and Mu Yunxi felt a little sleepy, so they got on the bus. They sat together, covered themselves with a blanket and fell asleep. Tang Mengxing looked around, not knowing where to sit. "Brother Tang, please sit with me," Chen Bumo said enthusiastically. "Then why don't you sit with your sister-in-law?" Tang Mengxing asked. Chen Bumo raised his chin and pointed to Wang Meng's position. Tang Mengxing took a look and was secretly amazed. Wang Meng's size was just right for him to take up 2 seats. After more than 10 minutes, everyone finally arrived. "Everyone. We are all here. There are 50 couples participating in this event today. I represent." Sister Li said a lot of things first. There were 3 buses, each with a person in charge. There were about 18 couples in Tang Mengxing's car. Perhaps they got up too early. Tang Mengxing and Chen Bumo fell asleep after chatting for a while. While sleeping soundly, Tang Mengxing felt someone patted him twice. When I looked down, I saw the girl in the back row patting my shoulder. "Is there something wrong?" Tang Mengxing asked in a low voice. The girl came forward and whispered, "Handsome guy, let me meet you. You are so handsome." Tang Mengxing turned around suddenly. He understood what the girl meant. He didn't dare to do such a thing. "I don't want to be cheated on, and I won't cheat on others." I took a look at the girl and she looked pretty good. The girl came very close, and her breath sprayed on Tang Mengxing's face, a burst of fragrance, intoxicating. He turned his head and looked at the girl's side. "Damn it!" Tang Mengxing cursed inwardly. Their husband next to her was staring at her. "Don't get me wrong, brother," Tang Mengxing was about to explain. The boy said, "It's okay. We have no feelings for each other, and we don't like each other. We have already agreed privately that we will live our own lives." Har har. How can such a matchmaking marriage have any result? If it is not absolutely necessary, I will not come. It is ridiculous. You guys continue, don't worry about me. What a lewd word. Tang Mengxing felt that his worldview had been refreshed. He was still naive. I have always lived my own little life and never thought that the outside world is like this. Chapter 24 Games. Hey, little bro, let me get to know you. Most people in the car were sleeping and no one noticed this side. The girls became even more unbridled. Sister. We should promote positive energy, be true, kind and beautiful, get up early in the morning and embrace the sun. Tang Mengxing refused again and again. The girl behind him put her hand into Tang Mengxing's collar. When I wake up early in the morning, I don't want to hug the sun. I want to hug you. Tang Mengxing grabbed the girl's hand that was still exploring and pulled it out. I'm sorry. I looked down on you. After saying that, Chen Bumo and the boy couldn't help laughing. Tang Mengxing took out a piece of clothing, covered his head with it, and simply pretended not to see it. TSK. Boring, I don't even like you, a girl's mumbling voice came from behind. After a 3-hour drive, we arrived at the beach. The vastness of the sea makes everyone feel happy. Everyone went to their hotel first. Although the standard charge was 1,800 yuan per person, the state also gave a subsidy of 1,200 yuan per person. Overall, their hotel is pretty good. Sumoli and Mu Yunxi, who had slept all their way, were now full of energy and clamored to go to the beach. I don't care about Tang Mengxing's opinion at all. Especially Mu Yunxi, who has been doing everything she can to act coquettishly and cutely during this period, and has completely subdued Tang Mengxing. Yunxi, you weren't like this the day we first met. Mu Yunxi said, oh, I liked you at that time, but I didn't get you, so I had to treat you as a human being. Don't worry, you are my only licking dog. Tang Mengxing's eyes twitched, thank you. The three of them walked along the beach, feeling an indescribably refreshing breeze. Chen Bumo also walked with Wang Meng. Although they were very different in stature, they seemed to be getting along well. At least they were talking and chatting. Everyone will be participating in an event in half an hour, so don't go too far, it's best to change into sweatpants. Sister Li shouted to the crowd while holding a loudspeaker. It's annoying. Tang Mengxing didn't want to participate in any activities. Wouldn't this delay his spending? The 10 billion that his father just transferred to him could not be spent at all. We don't have huge consumption needs on weekdays, but since it's a rare opportunity for us to get out and play together, we should spend a lot, right? Most of these couples on the beach are still unfamiliar with each other and have no feelings for each other. They all sat aside playing with their phones. Come on. Friends, Sister Li shouted at the top of her voice half an hour later. They were not the only ones on the beach, there were many other tourists. The tourists are no longer surprised, as they have all been there before. But when encountering such things, I still like to join in the fun and go forward to watch. A large group of people gathered together. The first activity is very simple. There is a half basin of water and a paper cup on the table in front of us. There is also an empty container with scales 15 meters away. Next, each couple will have one person hold a paper cup with water, and the other person will be responsible for carrying it on their back. They will use the paper cup to fill their container opposite them. The time limit is 10 minutes. After Sister Li finished explaining, everyone understood the rules. Tang Mengxing was ready to go and he was very confident about this kind of activity. In terms of physical fitness, he has never lost to anyone. Tang Mengxing took a look and chose to carry Mu Yunxi on his back because she was wearing pants, which made it more convenient to carry her on his back. But both girls are tall and heavier than the average girl. But it's not a big deal for Tang Mengxing. Mu Yunxi hugged Tang Mengxing's neck, and the latter carried him on his back. Tang Mengxing waited and didn't feel it was difficult. Just waiting for Sister Li's order. Beep, beep. With a whistle from Sister Li, the competition officially began. Mu Yunxi took a paper cup and filled the basin with water. Tang Mengxing estimated that 7 or 8 trips back and forth would fill up the container on the opposite side. However, the truth is not that simple. Hey! Yunxi, hold it steady, it's all over my face. As soon as Tang Mengxing started running, Mu Yunxi felt the shaking. The paper cup in her hand kept shaking, and all the liquid flowed down her hand to Tang Mengxing's head, and then slid down her head to her face. Mu Yunxi quickly wiped Tang Mengxing's face again. After finally running to the container, there was very little water left in the cup. Yunxi, what happened to you? Is that all? You're still blaming me. Just run more steadily. The two of them argued for a while, but Tang Mengxing couldn't run steadily because this was a beach. After a few times, his shoes were filled with sand. Fortunately, Mu Yunxi also mastered the technique and stabilized the water in the cup to prevent excessive leakage. Time was running out. Tang Mengxing glanced at both sides a few times and found that the water in other people's containers was not as much as his. No. There is a container with a lot of water, more than mine. Tang Mengxing looked at the couple curiously, and found that they were Chen Bumo and Wang Meng. What's different from other couples is that in their case, the girl carries the boy on her back, which is so stable. Wang Meng carried Chen Bumo on his back easily, took big steps, and carried water back and forth steadily. Beep, beep. Sister Li whistled and the game ended. The people around were also laughing. When the game started, Sumoli shouted at the top of her lungs to cheer for Tang Mengxing and Mu Yunxi. Unfortunately, neither of them heard it. Sister Li looked at each container one by one and then said, "The first place is Chen Bumo and Wang Meng, the second place is Tang Mengxing and Mu Yunxi, the third place." Tang Mengxing could see that Wang Meng was leading by a huge margin. I couldn't help but marvel at how powerful the other party was. Chen Bumo jumped up happily and high-fived Wang Meng to celebrate. Tang Mengxing sat on the ground, took off his shoes, and was pouring out the sand in his shoes. "That's awesome, brother. I didn't expect it." "I thought you were cheating on your sister-in-law," Tang Mengxing said with a smile. Chen Bumo laughed, "How can I carry it?" After the game, the atmosphere of the whole team became much more cheerful, and the relationship between some couples did become a little closer, but only a little. For lunch, everyone had a group meal at a restaurant. As we all know, the quality of group meals is very average. There were 10 people at the table, and Tang Mengxing was also hungry. He ate the rice hard regardless of whether the food tasted good or not. Mu Yunxi and Sumoli found it difficult to swallow. Not only was the rice a little cold, but the dishes were also too bland. The so-called shrimp is not much bigger than your little finger. "Mengxing, I don't want to eat this." Mu Yunxi started to act coquettishly again. Sumoli also looked at him aggrievedly. Let's go back. I'll take you two to a Michelin restaurant. Just make do with it for the next 2 days. Tang Mengxing had no choice. Everyone was eating this and he didn't want to be special. The two girls are not unkind. Because most people present have opinions. Everyone thinks that Sister Li and her friends embezzled the meal money. Tang Mengxing has never been so pretentious since he was a child, so he eats whatever is given to him. In the end, there was no other choice but Sister Li arranged some fried chicken and pork ribs to shut everyone up. Chapter 25. Sing a nursery rhyme. Tang Mengxing and others were taking a nap on the big bed in the hotel. Mu Yunxi and Sumoli had fallen asleep. Tang Mengxing turned on his mobile phone and started a martial arts game called Dream. In the game, I randomly drew jade stones worth 6,480 yuan, but didn't get anything particularly valuable. What a rip-off. I already have all these mounts and costumes, so I can only save them up to exchange for the Phoenix mount worth 300,000 yuan. The 300,000 he mentioned were not game coins, but Dragon Country currency, real money. Tang Mengxing had already spent more than 400,000 yuan before, including the most expensive set of clothing which cost 220,000 yuan for a lottery. Obtained in exchange for 200 jades. The rest of the fashion mounts only cost about 70,000 or 80,000 yuan. The remaining money was all used to improve the character's strength. After playing for a while, Tang Mengxing fell asleep in a daze. It was already 2 o'clock in the afternoon when I woke up. Sumoli and Mu Yunxi sat on the balcony, not knowing what they were talking about. Seeing Tang Mengxing get up, Sumoli walked over. "We will organize a movie watching later. Several movies have been posted in the group. You can go and vote." Looking at Sumoli's graceful figure, Tang Mengxing didn't care about voting or not, and pulled her into his arms. "I don't mind anything, just stay with me and sleep for a while." After saying that, he hugged the beauty and prepared to take a nap. At 2:30, Tang Mengxing opened his eyes again and looked at Sumoli, who was playing with her cell phone in his arms. "Wake up, the voting results are out." "Hey! An old movie, a horror movie at that. The Grudge." Mu Yunxi stared at the phone helplessly. "What? The Grudge? Are you crazy?" Tang Mengxing's reaction was so intense that it scared the two girls. These boys just want to scare the girls so that they will get into their arms. TSK. So clumsy, Sumoni revealed the boys' thoughts. In fact, it's not just boys who have this idea, there are also girls who think this way. The best way to foster affection is physical touch. Show your pitiful side and satisfy the boy's desire to protect you. Tang Mengxing swallowed and thought, it's over. The cinema is on the second floor of the hotel, and it is actually a converted conference room. Rows of sofas filled the room, which was dimly lit. Tang Mengxing insisted on sitting on a sofa in the back row. Sumoni and Mu Yunxi couldn't persuade him, so they had to agree. Mengxing, if I get scared later, I'll let you take advantage of me. No, I'll just snuggle into your arms. Will you protect me? War. Mu Yunxi leaned on Tang Mengxing's chest at this time. The little bird-like appearance is indeed pitiful. However, Tang Mengxing remained unmoved. Because he is afraid. He is afraid of the dark, and afraid of ghosts and gods. From childhood to adulthood, he has never been afraid of anything. He has caught snakes in the mountains and beat people up in the mountains. It is easy to catch a mouse with bare hands. When I was in the third year of junior high school, I also learned mixed martial arts for 4 or 5 years. At that time, I learned from 2 masters in the town. I thought those 2 masters were just half-baked. Later I learned that he was an international level coach that my father had hired at great expense. Teach yourself exclusively. Even if he encountered 3 or 5 bad guys, Tang Mengxing was confident that he could subdue them one by one without any problem. However, he was not afraid of encountering criminals in the middle of the night, but he was afraid of encountering a little girl holding a doll in one hand and a bloody knife in the other. I smiled and said to myself, brother, let's play together, okay? It's strange that people are full of curiosity about unknown things, and fear also comes from the unknown. You know you're afraid of this thing, but you just love the excitement. But Tang Mengxing was too traumatized and was traumatized. I have been used to being alone since I was a child, and every time I finish watching a horror movie, I would imagine all sorts of things on my own. In the middle of the night, I always felt that there was someone under the bed and a dead body hidden in the closet. As soon as I closed my eyes, I felt like there was a female ghost staring at me in the air. Friends who read this article in the middle of the night, please pay attention and don't go to the toilet alone. Tang Mengxing's hands were shaking, and before the movie started, Mu Yunxi had already hidden in Tang Mengxing's arms. Sumoni held Tang Mengxing's hand. Are you scared? How could I be afraid? Tang Mengxing, who was trying to remain calm, began to stutter. They are all fake. If you are afraid, just cover it up. After saying that, Sumoni took off her coat and handed it to him. Tang Mengxing took the coat and hugged Mu Yunxi, who was pretending to be scared, in his arms. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Mu Yunxi said, yeah, I'm not afraid with you here. Tang Mengxing said, I didn't say you, I said it to myself. Sister Li counted the people and found that almost everyone had arrived, so she gently pressed the remote control with her finger. The movie officially begins. Many people have already seen it several times and don't have much time to watch it again. Including Mu Yunxi and Sumoni. Sumoni stared at the screen expressionlessly, without any fear at all. But Mu Yunxi still pretended to be scared. After more than 10 minutes of the movie, it finally reached a small climax. Fuck. Tang Mengxing couldn't bear it anymore. He covered his head with Sumoni's coat and threw himself into Sumoni's arms again. Sumoni was only wearing a simple tank top underneath. Tang Mengxing's sudden action made her chest feel hot. Mu Yunxi stood up at this time, looking at the frightened Tang Mengxing, and said angrily, I'm scared too, why don't you protect me? I'm here to protect you, bastard. Good luck to you. Tang Mengxing covered himself with clothes and put his head against Sumoni's chest. Shivering all over. Sumoni did not blame him for being a hooligan. She could see that Tang Mengxing was really scared. Sister Li was walking around the hall at this time, taking some promotional photos for the event. Then I saw Sumoni and others in the last row. This is too much. There are so many people here, and they actually. She could see that Tang Mengxing was lying on Sumoni's chest, covering herself with clothes, and mistakenly thought that they were doing something dirty. Sister Li walked over quietly. There were not many people around Sumoni. Sister Li patted Sumoni gently. Sister Li, what's the matter? Sister Lee gave her a look, but Sumoli didn't understand. What's wrong? Finally, Sister Lee said, Mo-Lee, I know you two are in love, but this is a public place, you can't do this. Even if Tang Mengxing is a baby, you can't feed him here, you don't care about your image at all. Sumoli was stunned for a moment, and after a few seconds she instantly understood what she meant. I didn't misunderstand you. Tang Mengxing was scared and hid in my arms. If you don't believe me, just look. After saying that, she quickly pulled away the clothes covering her, eager to prove her innocence. Sister Lee took a closer look and saw that Tang Mengxing had his eyes closed, covered his ears with his hands, and was trembling. I really misunderstood. Ouch, I'm sorry, I'm old now and my eyesight isn't very good, I'm sorry. Sister Lee quickly apologized. But I heard Tang Mengxing still muttering, pleasant goat, beautiful goat, lazy goat. Big head son and small head father. A pair of good friends. Sumoli pushed Tang Mengxing away, fearing that others would misunderstand her again. Tang Mengxing lowered his head, not daring to look at the screen. Mu Yunxi secretly patted him. Tang Mengxing turned around and saw Mu Yunxi with her arms spread out and a gentle look in her eyes. Lie in my arms, quick. Mu Yunxi has become much more open recently. Ever since she got Tang Mengxing, she has been looking for more opportunities to be intimate with him. Sumoli sent a WeChat message to Mu Yunxi. Sister Lee misunderstood just now. He thought Tang Mengxing was being a hooligan. After the message was sent, Mu Yunxi took a look at it, then blushed and pushed away Tang Mengxing, who had just been in her arms. Tang Mengxing was at a loss, so she had to leave the cinema and wait for them alone in the corridor. Mu Yunxi felt bored. Although she was a little scared, she was not as scared as Tang Mengxing. Sister Su, I'm going out to look for Mengxing first. Sumoli nodded and said, well, go ahead, but don't go too far. I'm here. If the three of us all leave, it would be too disrespectful to Sister Lee. Sumoli thought more carefully. If a group of people were just doing whatever they wanted without any discipline, Sister Lee, as the organizer, would definitely not be happy. There will be similar activities in the future, and I will not be able to save face when the time comes. Mu Yunxi bent down, walked quietly to the door, pushed it open and slipped out. Mengxing? As soon as I went out, I saw Tang Mengxing leaning against the wall playing games. Seeing Mu Yunxi, Tang Mengxing hugged her and said, hey, you are still caring and came out to accompany me, right? Mu Yunxi nodded twice and hummed heavily. Looks very cute. Tang Mengxing doesn't like Lolita, but who can tolerate a Lolita who looks like a mature woman? The two of them snuggled together and chatted for a while. The movie finally ended. Sumoli walked out of the back door first, and felt a little jealous when she saw the two of them laughing. Everyone came out one after another. Sumoli pretended to be hypocritical. Tang Mengxing, you two were having so much fun that you left me alone there. Har. Tang Mengxing could tell that she was trying to comfort him, and no one would stop her from doing so. Okay. I'm sorry, don't be angry. Tang Mengxing stood up, hooked Sumoli's chin and kissed her gently. Sumoli pushed him away and punched Tang Mengxing in the chest twice, bad guy. But Mu Yunxi was not envious at all. They had kissed each other countless times outside just now. Chen Bumo and Wang Meng also came out. When Wang Meng saw Sumoli acting coquettishly, she felt that she suddenly understood how to be a little girl. He said to Chen Bumo, the movie just now was so scary, and you didn't know how to protect me. You are so bad. After saying that, he imitated Sumoli and punched Chen Bumo in the chest twice. Two powerful punches. Cough cough. Chen Bumo suddenly felt as if his chest was hit hard. Tang Mengxing and the other two looked at them with dull eyes. This is going to cost someone their life. There is no doubt that Wang Meng has great strength. She had already developed her strength through javelin throwing and shot put, and Tang Mengxing might not be as strong as her. Chen Bumo looked so frail that he couldn't withstand a few blows. Sister-in-law. Hit my chest with your small fists, don't use too much force. Stop it. Wang Meng wanted to hit it a few more times, but Tang Mengxing quickly stopped him. Chen Bumo covered his chest and took 2 deep breaths. Tang Mengxing stepped forward to support him. Brother Chen, are you okay? Chen Bumo clasped his hands and said, I have no way of repaying you for saving my life. Knowing that he had done something wrong, Wang Meng stood aside feeling somewhat guilty. I'm sorry, I want to learn, but I'm not very good at it. Chen Bumo waved his hands repeatedly. It's okay, just be yourself. I think we get along well with each other, there's no need to be so deliberate. But I want to learn. Wang Meng said a little embarrassedly. It's okay. If you want to learn, I'll let my wife teach you. Tang Mengxing pointed at Mu Yunxi. He originally wanted to point to Sumoli, but then he thought that Sumoli's little girl appearance would only be revealed in special circumstances. After all, she is 3 years older than him and is also a teacher. Compared with Mu Yunxi, she is more mature and stable. Mu Yunxi is still like a child, pure and cute, and loves to act coquettishly when she has nothing to do. So Mu Yunxi is more suitable than Sumoli. But this made Sumoli unhappy. Mu Yunxi walked over and took Wang Meng's arm. Sister, just learn from me. Sumoli took Tang Mengxing's arm and said, let's go to the room. I have something to tell you. Sumoli smiled brightly, and Tang Mengxing's mind raced, mistakenly thinking that this girl was going to do something unspeakable with him. It's very attractive when girls take the initiative. In Tang Mengxing's room, as soon as the door was closed, Tang Mengxing began to take off her clothes. Time waits for no one, Moli. There is a bonfire party in the evening, let's make it quick. Sumoli pushed Tang Mengxing to the wall and said charmingly, in your heart, I am not as feminine as Yunxi, right? No. Sumoli's fingers stroked across his chest, causing a tingling sensation. Close your eyes and stand still. Sumoli leaned close to his ear and whispered softly. Tang Mengxing nodded wildly with excitement. Watching Sumoli slowly squat down, he felt so excited that he quickly closed his eyes. A surge of evil fire surged up in my heart. But I only felt that the pants were taken off halfway, and then there was no movement. 10 seconds later. Moli, Moli. Tang Mengxing shouted a few times, but no one responded. With a bang, the door was shut heavily, and Sumoli seemed to say, you can play slowly in the room by yourself. Tang Mengxing opened his eyes and there was no one else in the room except him. Are you kidding me? He knew that Sumoli was still angry about what happened just now. My brain is filled with water. I pointed at Mu Yunxi instead of her. Wait for me. Tang Mengxing was about to chase after him, but he felt something tripping him, and he lost his balance and fell to the ground. Looking down, he saw Sumoli had tied the laces of his 2 shoes together. Damn, why is it still tied up? Tang Mengxing sat on the ground and hurriedly untied his shoelaces. When they chased after them, Sumoli, Mu Yunxi, Chen Bumo and others were already sitting by a barbecue stall outside the beach, talking and laughing. Seeing Tang Mengxing coming late, Sumoli deliberately joked, hey. Mengxing, you are having a lot of fun playing in the house, har har har, har har har. Mengxing, why did you come down so late? Mu Yunxi didn't know what was going on. Tang Mengxing was very angry. He took a small stool and sat aside without saying a word. The table at the barbecue stall was not big, just enough to seat 5 people. After a short while, the boss set up the stove and a pile of half-cooked meat skewers. Tang Mengxing and Chen Bumo put the skewers of meat on the stove and started grilling. Sumoli could see that Tang Mengxing was really angry. Mengxing. Mengxing. I was just teasing you, don't be angry, Sumoli quietly pushed him with her elbow. Tang Mengxing didn't even look at her, but just said, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have just pointed at Mu Yunxi. You don't have to apologize to me. I'm sorry for you. A typical case of saying something but not really accepting it. Sumoli looked at the others, who were all concentrating on grilling skewers. So he leaned close to Tang Mengxing's ear and whispered, I can give it to you in the evening, don't be so angry. Chapter 27 Commitment. The bonfire party was lively. It's actually meaningless. Sister Li organized a group of people to dance around the bonfire, and Tang Mengxing was so embarrassed that she wanted to crawl into the ground. Boss, would you like some draft beer? Asked the waiter at the barbecue restaurant, holding a large glass of draft beer. Chen Bumo waved his hand, come on. Mengxing, do you want to drink? Tang Mengxing replied, drink. Sumoli held down the wine glass, Mengxing, you still have school to go to, don't drink for now. Her ideas are still a bit traditional. Chen Bumo advised, Mo Li, they are all college students. It is normal for people in their 20s to drink a little. You act like a teacher. Don't be so strict with your spouse. Sumoli was slightly startled, and her hand covering the wine glass loosened again. She really wanted to say, I am his teacher. Chen Bumo filled Tang Mengxing's glass of draft beer, and the two of them got along quite well. After 3 rounds of drinks. It was only 7 o'clock and everyone went back to their hotel. Tang Mengxing felt that this night was destined to be interesting. Sure enough, walking in the hotel corridor, a bunch of boys were smoking or playing with their cell phones on the public terrace. Why don't you go back to their house? Tang Mengxing asked someone at random. Go back to their house? Har har, I'll get a room for myself later. Bro, I'm not familiar with my wife, we've only been together for over a week. Hey. We just held hands today. At this time, a few more people came over and joined the group chat. Brother, let's get a twin room together and save money. Okay. I want to form a group too. Is there any brother who wants to join me? Me too. I'm so embarrassed. Why don't we go to the internet cafe together and play some games? Yes. Let's go to the internet cafe and play games together. Oh, by the way, your name is Tang Mengxing, right? You really make the boys proud. The 2 girls in your family are so pretty. Do you want to play games together tonight? Faced with the invitation, Tang Mengxing scratched his head. I'm sorry, I won't go. My wife and I have done everything we should do, and we have a good relationship. People cast all kinds of looks at him, some incredulous, some unbelievable, anyway, they felt it was outrageous. Here, there's no marriage that lasts more than a month, how did you do it? Tang Mengxing smiled and said, money, not, that, personality charm. Only a ghost would believe this. But everyone felt that Tang Mengxing was not an ordinary person, and they all asked for advice. Tang Mengxing doesn't he have any secret? He has personal charm, but more importantly, he has the blessing of money. But I didn't dare say this out loud. After returning to the room, Mu Yunxi and Su Moli lay on the bed, watching TV. A comedy that made the 2 of them laugh out loud. Tang Mengxing reminded Su Moli, Moli, you said today that you would give me the money. When will you fulfill your promise? Su Moli blushed and evaded the question. After watching the movie. What promise? Mu Yunxi asked curiously. Nothing, you should go to bed early. Su Moli's eyes were evasive, which made Mu Yunxi even more curious. What is it? Tell me. Mu Yunxi refused to give in. Then I'll tell you, Tang Mengxing smiled evilly. After a long time, Tang Mengxing got dressed and prepared to go out. Someone in the group asked him to go out and play games. But instead of going to an internet cafe, I played mobile games. Mu Yunxi felt uncomfortable in her throat and dry heaved a few times. The 2 girls kept brushing their teeth and rinsing their mouths in the bathroom. Is it that serious? Tang Mengxing muttered, opened the door and walked out. I happened to meet Chen Bumo at the door. There were still many people sitting on the public terrace outside the door chatting and playing games. Brother Chen, why are you here too? Why don't you go back to sleep? Tang Mengxing felt that Chen Bumo shouldn't be like this. He and Wang Meng seemed to have a very good relationship. Chen Bumo said, har har, if you can't sleep, just go to my door and listen and you'll know. Tang Mengxing walked to Chen Bumo's door and listened carefully. There was loud snoring inside, no wonder Chen Bumo ran out. It's almost October and the wind is a bit chilly. If I go back to school for a few more days it will be National Day. Tang Mengxing also wants to plan where to go for fun in the next few days. The 2 of them put on their coats and joined a group of boys to play games. It was 2 o'clock in the morning and everyone was feeling sleepy. A boy yawned and said, everyone, add me as a friend and play with me another day. I'm going to sleep first. After adding the friend, the man prepared to go back to their house. Huh? That's not right. Didn't you say you wanted to get another room for yourself? How come? Tang Mengxing remembered that this man said that he was not familiar with his wife and wanted to get another room for himself. The boy smiled and said, it's already this late, she's sleepy, and I'm tired too. Something will always happen in a daze, and it's easiest to figure things out when it's late at night and everyone is asleep. After saying that, he went back to the room without looking back. Tang Mengxing also learned a lesson. The 3 days passed quickly, and Tang Mengxing lived a very carefree life during these days. The 3rd day happened to be Monday. My old father transferred 15 million yuan on time. The original promise was that if he could please someone at home, he would give him an extra 5 million. At noon, after lunch, everyone packed their bags and prepared to go back. During this period, Tang Mengxing and Chen Bumo became closer, and he learned that Chen Bumo was actually a programmer. Tang Mengxing asked him many questions. I plan to start an investment company when I return. After another 3 hours drive, Tang Mengxing felt groggy and fell asleep again. By the time we arrived in the city, it was already 5 o'clock. I'm going to have a big dinner tonight. I'm also going to go shopping on the pedestrian street. Tang Baba will pay the bill. Mu Yunxi yelled. She now has the right to spend Tang Mengxing's money. No problem. Tang Mengxing carried a suitcase and a bag, and followed the two girls like a little follower. He was very well behaved, and after spending some time together, the three of them had already developed a tacit understanding. Tang Mengxing is obedient during the day, and the two of them are obedient at night. During the 2 or 3 days of participating in the event, Tang Mengxing suddenly missed Lin Yushang. For some reason, that heroic sister often appeared in his mind. Ding, the elevator door opened and Mu Yunxi ran out happily. After jumping a few steps, Mu Yunxi suddenly stopped and made a hush gesture for silence. Tang Mengxing was curious and heard a noise coming from the opposite room. Get out! Get out of my house! Get out! Yu Chan, calm down, listen to me, this is an opportunity. If you miss it, you will regret it for the rest of your life. We are done, get out of here, get as far away as you can, I don't want to see you anymore. Tang Mengxing and the other two stood there in a daze. They could tell that this was a conversation between Lin Yushang and a boy. But I don't know what happened.